Yeah, it's crazy. I'm just gonna check one thing because I want to be 100% certain. Let's see, because but yeah, other than that, we should be good to go. I just wanted to double check our stream, make sure that the audio is coming through good for me. Oh, yep. What? Hmm. Oh, I think I screwed that up. I suppose so. Hey, Sam, I'm gonna pop. Oh, Sam, I'm gonna pop a link in the chat if you could check that out, just to make sure that the sound is coming through on the stream side. That'd be cool. Because I know we had issue with that last time. Because like because I'm streaming it locally, like I'll come up on it, and then like other people are just like, oh hey, are we just not meant to hear Sam? Mm. Yeah, you can just like do the whole thing, probably. Ah, you're always so quick with the notes. It's wild. Hmm. Ah. Oh, oh no! Now I'm seeing like a. Let me just see if I can fix this. Audio. Oh yeah, that's why. That's why. My bad. I
Oh,
fixed.
you found out.
There. It's fixed. We did it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I had fixed one problem earlier with it, but I did not account for rerouting things through the earbuds instead of using my headphones. But we're good
Were you
now.
supposed to be hearing yourself?
Well, the way OBS works is like I have to route everything through audio inputs and outputs, and it just kind of turns into a pain in the ass.
So you kind of have to check if your own sound
My
is coming through
brain.
to whoever will be watching, right?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my god.
Like last time, for whatever reason, like I saw all the audio output coming through, so like I could hear everybody else on the podcast, but for it was on a separate track, and because it was on a separate track, no one watching the stream could hear Sam or other Orion, and it was just like, ah, come on.
Oh shit! Yeah, you don't want that.
Makes
Yeah,
sense. It makes sense.
I had to fix everything in post. It was like, well, come on.
So I also need to like fix my my gain or anything, or move my mic closer. You think?
No, I think
Or
you're.
is this...
Yeah, you sound good, dude.
All right, sick.
Post production is always the biggest amount of work, right? Let us be real.
Yeah, it really is. But thankfully, we managed to streamline a lot of it with backups and contingencies.
Nice. That sounds like another podcast name right there.
Yeah, right.
Backups
A lot of
and
words that
contingencies.
podcasters know.
Yeah, I would imagine. Well, actually, we can start recording, but.
We were recording all this time.
Well,
oh my!
We were streaming. We just weren't recording yet.
All this amazing dialogue.
Well, it's still somewhere, just not in the officially the audio only. So if any of our audio only listeners want to check out,
if you'd like me to, repeat anything that I said so far for the recording, just tell me. Just let me know.
I think what is it? Something in contingencies.
Backups and contingencies.
Backups and
It is a
contingencies.
great
The only tabletop sponsored by Batman, and that's all you need.
by Batman. I mean, he is the king of it.
He's gotta be. You know, like
I mean, funnily enough, recently I discovered a series of YouTube videos by multiple people, by the way, which is like, AI voice Batman just explaining a contingency plan for all the characters in existence,
yeah,
from
I
pop culture.
love those. I was like really deep into those for a while, and it just turned into like a big old little shorts rabbit hole, and they're
was
just
really
so good.
I mean, it wasn't even shorts. It was like full, like 8-minute videos sometimes.
Oh,
I really got into it.
it's been done.
What?
Oh, he got his video going.
Hey, let me see. Hey, look at the boy.
Wait, I'm not wearing my glasses. What the? How long have I been blind?
The funny thing is that he's saying that he's not wearing his glasses, and his screen is appropriately blurred. It's like we're seeing through his vision, all blurry.
We get to see the world through Sam's fuzzy eyes, and it's hilarious.
But he put the glasses and the blur is still
I did
on.
it.
What's happened? Why isn't the blur
This is
going
a
on?
weird blur too. Like,
Are the glasses not doing anything?
But it's far
Yeah,
from the
that
cold
was
open I was thinking, Sam. I was going to just go off on how I've
Oh,
been lying the entire
oh, did I
time.
break it? Oh God, what did I do?
Yeah, you got locked in frame 1, man.
Ah,
Sorry, Sam. You are just an image
Yee.
caught in time.
Still got locked in that frame, man.
all right. Well, anyway,
Well, there.
I turned it off.
Well, hey, tech difficulties are something that we're known for, so that I think
All
we'll
right,
be
let
okay.
me break your thing a little bit.
I mean, streamers and technical difficulties literally go hand in hand, right?
It is true.
It's like bread and butter, monkey and bananas. You can't separate them.
Yeah, that's the new tabletop hitting the scene. Streamers and difficulties.
Anyway,
Streamers and tech
we're,
issues.
we're recording now, right?
Oh,
Oh, we're 3 minutes in. Welcome
Hacking
to the
and
show,
stream
guys.
issues. That sounds cool.
yeah, we better hit the intro so they don't get
I didn't
bored and
have
run away.
I didn't have the right screen up. I
The
never
intro?
had two screens.
Are we gonna
before.
sing the Power Rangers theme?
Well, let me know if this hits you in a Power Ranger way.
Oh, okay. It kind of does. In a way, yes, for sure. Okay.
Hey!
Dungeons and Talkshows.
We got it! All right! And welcome to Dungeons and Talkshows, the talk show that brings you monsters, news, homebrews, and hopefully less technical difficulties than we've had. But you know what? We're off to a fantastic start with contingencies. I am your host, Orion.
Hell yeah.
And I am your host, Sam. Sorry, I'm trying to fix this mic or camera.
See,
You got this, Sonic.
this is the price we pay for not being in the same location.
This is true.
Well,
Hello, hello.
That's the price of art. If you could call it that.
There we go. That's
There
acceptable.
he is. There's the boy.
Oh.
I feel so short in comparison to this camera.
I mean, objectively, you are.
It's so high.
But yes,
You should.
with us today we have. How do you say your name? I was always like.
Oh yeah, right. That's funny, right? I've seen a lot of people go like CamunonZ, but it is
CamunonZ.
technically meant to be like CamunonZ, just like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I always go off like the Dragon Ball Z because it's just this capital at the end.
You could say it was probably more directly inspired by the video game like Fighter Z, right?
Ah, okay.
So
That
you
makes
turned
sense.
on.
CamunonZ. And the funny part is, I want to just Camunon, which is my internet name, which I use for everything, internet alias. But when I made the Reddit account, it was already taken. So I just, okay, what do I add here just to be able to create the account already? Oh, that Z, there you go, CamunonZ.
Yeah. You know what?
And it just worked.
It beats the fuck out of being one of those number whores. You know, the people that just slap on a bunch of numbers on their username just so they can secure it.
69, 420, 2.0.
I like that
Yeah,
better.
exactly.
There you go.
The Street Fighter Arcade Edition curse.
Yeah.
I know it. But
It's
since
wild.
the Reddit became my main platform for posting homebrew, let's see, I would say I just, took it over to Discord for better recognizability, I guess, since I get my own server now and everything.
Oh, you got your own server now? Like it seems
I
like
do,
a
actually, yeah.
That's awesome. We'll have to check that out because, like,
I created it around, of last year.
Nice.
It's got like what? About 70 something people.
I'm giving up on it,
Closer
guys.
to 100 members. Yeah. You gotta celebrate the milestones.
Micah's camera is too much work for me.
That's a shame. But I saw. Well, like we had IDBN on, and I talked to him about who could I possibly get on? He's like, hey, do you know CamunonZ? I'm like, yes, we've featured his work before. Like, he does some good stuff. And
wow, like, IDBN mentioned me, really? I had no idea.
Yeah.
He went straight for the name drop. He's got quite a few
awesome.
homebrew creators in his server, so it's like, okay, maybe I'm missing chances by not like mulling around in all these servers, but like social media.
Yeah, actually, funnily enough, now that you mention it, like, how did we get to this episode right now being filmed? Because you got on IDBN server and talked to me when I shared the brew. Yeah, it was exactly that.
Yeah,
exactly. So.
It's been crazy meeting all these people and all these creators, and
yeah,
it's been really, really cool.
I think as of
I
this
love it. I
episode,
really
this
like
seeing
the conversion.
Yeah, you're probably one of the first people that we've had that has listened to as many episodes as you have be on the show.
I mean, to be quite fair, like I can't say I watched the entirety of the episodes. It was like more like a skin show, because they can be long sometimes. Unfortunately, we don't always have the time now.
I imagine a lot of people have them on in the background while they're like working or doing something.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You gotta put it on the background. Ain't nobody got time for not doing anything else while listening.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, exactly. Like if you got a podcast,
podcasts are pretty much made to be like that, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You throw that on in the car while you're on a long drive to work. You toss that on when you're doing housework. Like if you have a set schedule in your mind, like I'll listen to podcasts while I'm at work because like I work in a restaurant.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
They'll be like in the dish pit doing stuff up and slap on a little podcast. Good to go.
Is either that or music, right? It's one of the two. I'm pretty sure.
Like I used to do a lot of music when I was initially getting into working and being allowed to use earbuds at work or alternatives. Like when I first started out doing that kind of stuff, I'd have a speaker and I'd be learning from college classes, listening to music. There's tons of free college classes online. And then like when I started getting into doing D&D stuff more, I would learn from people from like Matt Colville, for example, or Matt Mercer, like all the D&D Matts out there.
All the various Matts.
There's a lot of them, but
there's at the very least two of them.
At the very least,
that we know of.
So it's just like you'd be surprised how much you can get out of just listening to content creators that have that good long form content. It just even as a form of game prep, audiobooks included in that. Like,
I see what you mean. Long form in the media.
Yeah, I always listen to podcasts, audiobooks. Creepypasta was a very common one for me.
Creepypasta?
Yeah, I love like long like horror stories.
Oh, creepypasta podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
maybe like fictional or sometimes like like cryptids and things like that, like monsters or supernatural.
Wait, so creepypasta audiobooks in this case, like stories being told.
There's all kinds of like narrations of like whether it be like a book or like someone wrote like a Reddit story.
Yeah. I remember a Markiplier did one.
Yeah.
Once before. I think it was pretty popular, right? Like a horror audiobook or something in which he was the narrator. I remember that.
Yeah. Exactly like that. I listen to a lot of those. Just like while I'm working and stuff.
Yeah. And it makes sense. I mean, the last D&D campaign you ran was Grim Hollow, so it's supposed to be creepy by nature.
You got to run that, man.
I listened to a lot of ones that were like similar to the setting we were in.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wish I could do something like being a Green Hollow campaign. That sounds so cool. What the hell?
Oh yeah, it was
maybe in the future when we run it back.
He mixed in like some of Stibble's codex, you know, the one with all the little critter
companions,
buddy, the little companion buddies.
Wait,
yeah, they
Stibbles
were
or Kibbles?
Stibbles. So it was just kind of a module that added like a pet companion system. Like think of like a familiar, but you could train it. It could grow with you.
So expanded familiars. I like the sound.
Pretty much like that. But they were also like you could go find them out in the world. Like they're actual like animals and creatures. You know, they exist within those worlds.
Okay, powered, but D&D.
Basically, yeah. But you could only have one in most cases.
Yeah, but I mean, feel like if your DM is generous, you know, then
like our party. Like everyone had like about one, and that was ended up being a pretty large party if you consider, you know, the companions. About half of
I imagine the DM was like balancing encounters with that in mind, right? Each one of you got a familiar.
I mean, as the DM, like it was pretty. Like the companions were pretty strong in their own right as like a pseudo player, you know, a slight NPC that I controlled in a way.
But did the players have control of their familiars, or did the DM control each one of them?
So we had one character, one of our mages, who had a little river dragon.
Awesome.
Tamed, and it was like, you know, basically a familiar. They were super close, and you know, it gained some benefits from being, you know, partnered with her. It grew a little bit stronger. It kind of like you know, it was able to protect her in some way. It had slight like water abilities, so it was pretty cool. You know, it was probably as strong as like I don't know, level 3 character. I would say.
Oh, okay.
Probably
which
towards
level were
the
you
end.
guys in?
I think they got to what, like level 6 or 7.
Okay, so you guys were like double the levels of each familiar.
Yeah, it was about that. And then there was another one that was mostly controlled by me. Was this little? If you ever played Monster Hunter,
mostly.
Yeah, it was a little Grimalkin cat that decided to join the party and travel with them.
Oh, yeah. Stomp was
do
a cool
know the
dude.
appearance of the Monster Hunter cat.
He was in the Stibbles, you know. Codex is just like a Grimalkin that like existed within the world, and they were in this village, and they just kind of saw some of them on the street, and we had 2 tabaxis in our party, you know, so they caught their attention.
Cat people.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, hello, you know, what are you doing here, weird cat people? We've never seen you before," stuff like that.
Cat people.
And you know, I loved Stibbles especially because it added like an extra layer of culture to like these creatures, you know.
Stibbles Codex are companions.
It
Oh,
was really cool. So shout out to Stibbles. I love that book. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I have to look into that. Wait. I might have seen this before. I just didn't remember it by name.
Excuse me.
No, I'm not sure if I've seen this before. Wow, no wonder you're praising this. It looks amazing. Look at this.
It was so,
Oh,
and I
yeah,
love
that's
stuff
Gummy
like
bear.
that
There's a
in
gummy bear
general.
companion.
Yeah,
Gummy bug. Oh my god.
and there
Gummy
were so
bug.
many that fit the theme of like the Grim
Oh my
Hollows world, you know. So I really got to
Hey.
like play them up. And it was
That's
so fun.
funny because Stiebel's Codex, if you just look at it, it immediately looks like, more heartwarming,
Yeah, it's super cutesy and stuff.
cartoonish.
Yeah,
But
like, it
there's
had a
stuff that
big
it's also
contrast.
fits in Green Hollow. It's like it's got a
Yeah.
range. Then that's cool.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah,
And
it
it's
was
funny
fun.
to think that like all of the creatures in Stibbles are also like they're monsters in their own way. So some of them I use them as like this could be a combat encounter, or it could go, another way.
A certain versatility to each stat block.
Because there's some creatures, that are aggressive, or like very territorial, or stuff like that.
No, that's
Who
good. It
was
helps you create
there were
more.
there was one moment especially. There was a Stibbles character. I forget what it's called, but it's basically like a little goblin, and they love to steal money, especially. And they
Loot
robbed,
goblin.
they robbed our party of what was it, like 10 gold, and like, but they ended up leaving behind like an electrum piece.
Yeah, those things are just silly.
Yeah, and like they were like, "What the fuck? What happened?" And they just found like footprints that seemed to be like teleported. Like,
Oh yeah, that was weird to investigate because
and then like we had the king had one of these familiar basically companions. That was a, what was it called? Sorry, I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but anyway,
I remember the name of the character.
Yeah, it was like a little wormhole worm. Yeah, Cosmo.
Whoa, there's an axolotl. That's so cool.
Yeah. Oh, we had a couple of those, but they died tragically and/or sacrificed.
Yo, is that a living keg? A living keg? That's amazing.
So this is awesome. What? I loved it.
Oh my god, I gotta get this book. What the hell?
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
I mean, I would want to get this book if I have money.
I can't wait to do more with it in the next campaign that I run, or have a DM, in the future use it. Maybe Orion could use it. That would be really cool.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I really wish I could like not only just have a campaign going on at the moment, which I don't, unfortunately, but like have it allow homebrew content in any shape or form, man.
Welcome to the Nerd Militia, man.
For someone that makes homebrew, to be allowed to use homebrew in a game is just, it's just, yes.
Yeah, it's weird going to tables to get homebrew allowed, because like you got to bring it to the table, and then at first you got to have like the DM be like, oh hey, I'll allow that, so they got to go over it, they got to approve it, and that's just like a process in itself. And then some DMs are just like, nope, I'm strictly going with like these 2 or 3 books because they don't want the headache of balancing out someone else's shit.
Yeah.
And that's all right, but me personally, and I think Orion, we both love homebrew content. And as long as it's reasonable and it's not fucking ridiculous, then like we'll allow most things. As long as it's, in line with our
DMs. Yeah. I've seen a lot of DMs that go like, okay, I'm not going to allow you to use like a full homebrew class, but I will allow homebrew subclasses as long as you show them to me and I approve them.
Yeah.
If I was DMing, I would probably start with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, most likely I would start doing something like that first. But what I like to think that I would want to do is like, okay, if I think this subclass is currently like overpowered to shit, I'm not going to just ban it. I'm going to try to tweak it myself to make it not overpowered to shit,
Just kind of rebalancing some stuff, because like a little tweak.
I'm a brewer, I can do it,
Yeah, like any seasoned DM can give a couple good tweaks, because like DMs are making homebrew all the time.
Any player, I feel like, who is willing to.
And speaking on that, the funniest thing. I'm sorry. The funniest thing is like, how many times someone came to me and like, oh, I love your brews. You must be like a great DM. And I'm like, oh, I never actually DM. And they're like, what? What do you mean you're not a DM? Because usually you become a DM first before you start making homebrew. Like,
right.
Usually.
And that's the thing. I feel like so many players have these ideas, but they don't know how to balance it, right? Yeah. So like a player who is willing to be like, here, I want this in this game. Is it too strong? Here's my idea. Can you work with it? I love that. I'm like, absolutely. Like we had a player in the last game in the Grim Hollows one who wanted to become a gun mage. So I did a lot of
Gun mage.
research. I like half
Awesome.
created him like a subclass.
Awesome. Gun mage is on demand, man.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
really
Gun
absolutely.
mages are on demand.
such a cool idea. Like I know we've talked about a few, on the show.
Yeah, I made one myself as well.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's
But
like,
because I didn't
everyone
want it to
loves
just
it,
name
you
it
know?
gun mage, because I didn't want it to name it just another gun mage. I went creative. I went outside the box. I call it School of Gun Magic.
Oh
Which is
God,
completely different.
Jesus Christ!
Which is completely different.
Don't stop this, man.
I remember this one comment that I got that someone was absolutely indignant. It was like, really? That's the best you could come up with? Artillery is this and that. Just gun magic, that's it. Like you could feel they were so disappointed. I was like, I'm sorry, man.
I mean,
Dude,
honestly,
just didn't want to call it gun
simpler is
mage.
better.
If it's good enough for
couldn't even
Fairy Tale to
imagine.
have entire wizards using gun magic, it's good enough for your campaign.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I could see what they were saying, but it just worked. If it works,
Honestly,
it works.
as one of the DMs in the Nerd Militia, I would love to have you in one of our games in the future. I do kind of plan to continue the Grim Hollows one to like a part 2.
That's awesome.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And yeah, 'cause I know I kind of
it's
left
so cool.
the first arc off on a bit of a cliffhanger and with a death. So whew.
Yeah.
I love these Halloween-esque settings, Ravenloft, Green Hollow.
Yeah.
Steinhardt is
Oh my God.
coming.
I really want to run or be in like a Monster Hunter campaign or an Avatar, Soul Eater, like oh my God.
Oh, anime ones. That would be
Something,
cool.
yeah, I want something like that, like an isekai kind of situation, level up, solo leveling, something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. Soul Eater specifically was like the Halloween town,
Yeah.
Oh,
I loved it so
absolutely.
much.
I was floored when I found out that Soul Eater took place in America, because I was just like, dude, how often do you find a anime that's like set play in like your home country? Because like everything, most anime is like, oh hey, Japan, school kids,
Wait,
Japan.
Soul Eater took place in America.
Oh yeah, it's set in the Deathmeister Academy is actually in Nevada, in the middle of the Death Valley.
I didn't remember that. That explains a lot because the academy is like a city, right?
Yeah, and it's like I thought it was
Halloween
hilarious that
city.
it was placed like it's a moving city that's placed in
Yeah.
Death Valley, Nevada, and I'm just like, okay,
Wow, Nevada. That's the funniest thing because Nevada is also Madness Combat. From
Yeah.
Newgrounds. Everything shitty just happens in Nevada. That's just how it is.
Yeah, like shady stuff happens in Nevada, and like creepy stuff happens in Maine. Because like I live in Maine, so it's like we got Stephen King up here writing all kinds of ghost stories about this shit.
And we just don't mention Ohio ever.
Dude, speaking of
we don't
creepy
talk
things,
about Ohio.
We just don't ever mention it.
Speaking of creepy things, have you heard about the New Jersey Devil developments?
Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
New
Okay, so I am from
developments?
so anyone who doesn't know, I am from New Jersey, right? I've loved the Jersey Devil story since I was like a kid, right? I love like the books about cryptids, and anyone who knows me knows I love like supernatural shit. So like,
right.
Yeah, apparently people were, looking around the Pine Barrens area where the Jersey Devil was supposed to have been lived, when it was a person or whatever. So apparently a town historian or whatever found like the house where this family apparently lived, and they found like the gravestones and stuff like that. So that at least proves that they were like real people, and that like some fragment of the story was accurate.
Whoa.
And like I find that so fascinating.
Oh, absolutely.
I hope my friend over at the Saucy Topic talks about this on her podcast over there. Shout out to Ashley.
Oh, that is a
you
really
told
cool
me about that.
Yeah, I love that stuff. But yeah, sorry
Dude,
to pull away.
So is the Jersey Devil going to be the monster of the week?
Oh no,
That would be cool.
Nope. Oh, but dude, the new cool connection to this though is the Grim Hollows book has Mothman in it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's real. Putting the Jersey Devil as like a boss fight, it
Dude,
fits for a one shot. It fits for a horror campaign. It
I
fits for
can
a lot of
see
stuff.
it. A cryptid D&D campaign.
Hell
Oh,
yeah!
let's go.
Imagine like a whole. Oh, speaking of modules, I was gonna say like imagine a whole module. Did you guys see?
Yeah.
Which I think is now currently the biggest D&D Kickstarter ever. What was it?
Oh,
The Crooked Moon by Legends of
ooh,
Adventures.
I
It's
have
like
not
a
heard of
full on
this.
like yet another Halloween-esque module, but it's got a lot of like I think it completed all its stretch goals from the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And one of those stretch goals was like they're gonna have like cryptid stab blocks as boss fights.
Oh,
Dude, I love
nice.
cryptids, and like giving them stat blocks is just, it actually goes into something that I was kind of working on the side here. I wanted to do like a Dungeon Master's Guide to Netflix. And one of the subjects I wanted to talk about,
Netflix?
yeah, Netflix. Because like there's so many good shows to kind of like give DMs inspiration for their campaigns. And one of the first things I wanted to talk on for that was this show called Troll Hunters. It's based on books by Guillermo del Toro. And in Troll
Oh.
Hunters, it's a modern setting, much like modern day, and magic and trolls, and there's like kind of shit going on, but like you're still dealing with like the normal modern society. So I just like
Oh,
the
okay.
concept of all of that craziness kind of going on in a setting.
That's so cool.
So it's like
Something
that kind
in
of
1 minute.
yeah,
Holy.
Yeah, it
that
was
lends
crazy.
itself
The biggest
to
one.
like the whole cryptid thing, because imagine like you have an entire party of just normal everyday people, and they're thrust into dealing with Mothman,
man.
the Jersey Devil,
Is this a setting?
Bigfoot.
It's a whole
You know?
setting, yeah.
Oh, that's so
No, I
cool.
like your idea, man. I think you could do a little play on it. It's like the Dungeon Master's Guide to Netflix and Kill, you know?
Oh
Yeah.
man, I
Netflix and
like
chill.
this.
Netflix and Kill. But
Dude, this is dope. Oh, I love it.
The Bard's Guide
Shout
to
out-
Netflix.
Oh yeah!
I
Shout
shall
out to the
never
Crooked Moon
apologize.
Kickstarter.
I shall never apologize for any of my puns.
I
Please
feel like
don't.
we've talked
All
about Legends
in,
of
all
Adventures
in.
before.
Yeah, no, Adventures is really cool, man. Did you guys know about Chuckles, like the ghost clown?
Yeah,
That was pretty much
I know
they
about
got
that.
the made it on the map, you know.
That sounds
That
so
shit
cool.
got viral.
Oh yeah, I saw some clips of that. And it's just like, dude,
That shit got viral, and he put it on the map like from the internet, and they pretty much knew to capitalize on that. I was just lucky to be able to capitalize.
Oh,
right after Halloween, they released the Kickstarter. It was
this is how I know this. The Legends of Adventures are the ones that made the Studio Ghibli setting.
Oh, did they? That's awesome, dude.
Studio Ghibli setting?
Yeah, the Obojima Tales from the Tall Grass.
You know what? We talked about that like it must have been like 6 months ago when we mentioned a Studio Ghibli setting.
Oh my god. Yeah, dude.
Dude, I almost forgot about that.
Holy.
I didn't even know that was a thing, much less that they did it.
Oh, maybe they backed it. Oh, hold on.
But before we go deep off into Kickstarter stuff.
Sorry, anyway.
Deep off the deep end.
So, one of the things I kind of wanted to ask you about is being from Brazil, what is like tabletop nerd culture like there?
Oh yeah, good question.
Because like Brazil is just like such an interesting place when it comes to nerd culture on the whole. Like the attachment to using like the Famicom like way past when other countries are just like, nah, we don't need the NES anymore. Or like I think another thing that really kind of caught my eye.
Wes, like it's an interesting question because I am aware that I'm not, how would I say, I'm not an example of the common Brazilian, if you will, even the nerd ones. I'm pretty much an outlier. I see myself as an outlier in many ways.
Right.
But if I am to think from what I know of what I would call as the common Brazilian nerd from my generation, at least. Yeah, Brazil is definitely funny. Like in a lot of ways, we co-opt, we absorb by osmosis a lot of stuff from the United States. We're pretty much under its wing when it comes to like pop culture and nerd and geek culture. We absorb a lot of what we consume from it. Like the reason why, for example, Dragon Ball and other animes like Naruto and Pokemon and stuff are so popular over here is because majority of the people who are adults now, closing in on 30s like I am, like we watched that shit on cartoons when we were little. Why did we watch it on cartoons when we were little? Because it was the big thing going on in the United States at the time, and we just, everything that was going on there was just exported to here in many ways, and it still is nowadays. But it was like back in the day, like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, it was a forming factor. It was a big factor, in forming a lot of the generation. So yeah, I imagine like a melting pot, like a melting pot of a lot of stuff just mixed in. That's Brazilian pop culture and nerd culture for you. Like when you get really geek, really nerd, like people like me who are really into pop culture and really heavy users of PC and internet, we know fucking everything, bro. Like when you get to that point, you know everything. Like I know much more pop culture and internet and all kinds of franchises. I have much more internal knowledge about that than I do about the stuff I'm actually doing in college. It's to that. It is to that level. Professional capabilities, my professional knowledge pale in comparison to my amount of useful knowledge from pop culture.
I feel that, and it's just like I find Brazil as like a nerd culture just interesting because like like the Mega Man comics were like primarily produced there, and like I kind of like went off on like their own like full tangent because of like something during the production process, like
the Archie comics.
Yeah, the art during like the early days of the Mega Man comics. I'm not sure if it was
I didn't know there was Brazil involved in that. Oh.
Yeah, like there's a full documentary on YouTube that someone put up years ago, and I found that fascinating.
It wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. I didn't know about it, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's one of the things that kind of like caught my eye. I was like, oh, hey, he's from Brazil. Like they have an interesting nerd culture, and it's just like,
yeah, as a sole spokesman for all of Brazil's nerd culture, we can only take your full word for any of this. And speaking about Brazil, I mean, being a long time fan of pop culture, what is like your favorite type of homebrews and content to create?
Ooh, that is a good
question. My favorite type of homebrew to create, I mean, yeah, like I was gonna say that I think the one thing that really let me put it in a word that sounds funny. The one thing prevents the majority of Brazilian nerds from really unleashing their true power on the rest of the internet is the language barrier. It is the language barrier. If every Brazilian knew, like every Brazilian nerd, geek, etc., knew how to speak English, man, you have no idea, man. Shit is crazy.
Ah, shit. Like, maybe we need to start teaching some English down there. We'll go down. We'll start like a whole idea, nerd. Man. We'll start like a little nerd nerd college to just cultivate.
Dude, I can't wait until we get someone from like
Bardic College
or something, and then we could talk about like Code Lyoko and like
French
nerd culture. I remember Code Lyoko. I remember it. I watched it on TV as well, man. I was glued on the TV when I was a kid. Now I'm glued to the PC. There's always a screen, pretty much.
Ah, dude, it blows my mind that Code Lyoko is French.
I know, right?
To this day,
it was produced by French people, right? Now that you mention it.
So speaking of Brazil and stuff, I heard there was some news with Wizard of the Coast.
Yeah, I'll hop right into that.
This is TNN, bringing you nerd news.
So yeah, a little late to the show. I held off on this one last week for nerd news, but Wizards of the Coast they're doing away with Portuguese translations for their books. They don't want to sell things in the Portugal tongue anymore, apparently. I know, right?
What a bold statement.
How could a company who has access to ChatGPT and clearly has no problem with using AI not translate their books into other languages?
What a call out.
You just gotta understand, man. ChatGPT is their homie. DeepL and Google Translate aren't their homies. They're just not that tight, you know.
It's so real. You're so real for saying
dude,
that.
ChatGPT speaks Java. You can't tell me you can't translate into Portuguese.
Damn, he can speak Java. Wow.
Oh yeah, it speaks like coding languages, regular languages, dude. You throw a language in that thing, and it'll give you a good translation, or approximate. Approximate. I'm not promising.
Approximation. That's crazy. But can it be Goku?
Ooh. You know what?
Goku,
in a debate.
Oh my goodness.
Dude.
Yeah, that wouldn't be hard.
It's been a rough week for the nerd community. Rest in peace, Akira Toriyama.
You know, yeah, actually, speaking seriously about it, like I told you earlier, I don't know if it was recording, but I told you earlier that I'm personally not affected by this news so much because from the very beginning, I already spoke English, was fluent in it. I made my content in English from the beginning. I started playing D&D with my friends in English since they also speak English. So this doesn't do anything for me. But speaking about it seriously, like I just mentioned that like the language barrier is the one thing preventing the rest of Brazilian fans from really interacting with that wider internet in a more like deep manner, like I like to do.
Yeah.
So like a lot of D&D fans sadly just don't speak the language, and they make do with what they have, you know. And this is pretty much just saying, just putting a big middle finger to everyone there.
It really is.
Yeah, this is them basically cutting off that whole like culture, right? Like,
yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
But this is also an opportunity because
that is true.
Because you could effectively be the hero that the Portuguese speakers of the world need.
Oh my God. You're so right.
It's Don Algaid of Brazilian.
You hold the power.
The Portuguese TTRPG Jesus. I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
Gotta be Marvel Jesus, but for D&D.
Exactly. Not just bringing over D&D, but he's got homebrews too, and you know they're kind of like sprinkled over the top.
I don't think I can be the Deadpool of D&D, man. I just don't got that dog in me, man. Not that dog, not that one.
The trick is to get just a little bit of money and outsource it to someone who does have the dog. so then you'll have the dog, but you'll also hold the leash.
Damn. Money? I wish I knew what it looked like.
Yeah, right?
Money? I'm in college.
Money looks like. People had told me it's green, you know? I have heard tales of it being green and having pictures of people in it. Damn.
People tell me it doesn't grow on trees.
I hope I can meet money one day.
Maybe one day.
God damn.
You know,
dude, so we talked a little bit about Monster Hunter earlier. I see there's some more news on here about that.
Yes. So
Capcom Monster Hunter TTRPG, right? Well, something like that.
Almost. So I got some news from Dicebreaker. Monster Hunter World board game maker is going to publish the D&D alternative Tales of Valiant starter set. So new D&D starter set from the people that brought you Monster Hunter World's board game maker.
Oh, it is an actual 5e supplement. That's awesome. What the fuck?
It's a full on thing, and like having an alternative starter set, that's great for like getting people that are kind of like new to the game, but you don't want to hand them the Mines of Phandelver.
Yeah,
you know?
That is interesting.
That makes me
It reminds me of stuff like Level Up 5e. Don't know if you guys heard of it, like Advanced 5e, which is like a group of people that made pretty much like their own one D&D, if you will, right? Their own
that sounds about right, because it's kind of like based off of how like older editions were like, okay, we got Dungeons and Dragons, and then there's advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure they got inspiration from that terminology.
Yeah, that's got to be it.
It also reminds me of like, I think it was Cobalt Press. Like, I'm not sure if it was. Oh no, I'm probably confusing you with Project Black Flag, which was gonna be its own TTRPG, right?
I think that's also under the umbrella of Kobold Press, like the Project Black Flag.
Yeah.
Because like that also just kind of like seemed, from what I've read of it, it seems to be in the same breath as how 3.5 spawned Pathfinder first edition.
Yeah.
And
it's its own thing. I remember it as like, oh, we're gonna do our own little revision of 5e as well. But remembering back, it's not. It's actually its own like sequel, spiritual successor to 5e, changing what they think needs changing.
Yeah, you know, it's like fuck you, WotC. We're gonna make our own D&D with blackjack and hookers.
that is a trend nowadays, man. Ever since 2022, ever since that January, that fateful January, the trend is fuck you, WotC. We're gonna make our own D&D.
Exactly, and we've been around talking about it ever since.
With blackjack and
look, man, that's the thing with like homebrew creators these days, especially, right? You know, we're talking about all the homebrew and all these different Kickstarters. We have the power to do it themselves, and they fear people for it. I feel like.
Oh yeah,
absolutely,
because they can't make money off guys like us.
Yeah, honestly.
Now we will make money off you.
Yeah.
The revenge. Yeah, it's not completely accessible to anyone to just go and make a Kickstarter, but it sure as hell is the dream for any homebrewer, man.
Yeah,
it's like
I've had some Kickstarter ideas. I just haven't implemented them because that's a big project to undertake. I got a lot of things on my plate.
The thing with Kickstarters, right? Is because it's that. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Like I got something, but I can hold on to that.
Okay. The thing with D&D Kickstarters is that, like, specifically the D&D Kickstarters, it's like you don't see many people wanting to do like a Kickstarter that's not gonna have anything physical in it, right? Usually want to have physical products, and that's what makes it the hardest part. It's like having to do all the process of, I'm gonna have to talk with this, transporter, this company, gonna have to have a team, gonna have to have a marketing team. You need a team. You can't do it like with a single person. Like everyone who did a big Kickstarter recently, Monkey DM, Aventris, D&D Shorts, they have a team of people. It's not just them. They may be the face, like just like the face of the party, but there's always a party behind the face of the party.
It's definitely a team operation there. I mean, like when Dingo and Felix put together their whole Fool's Gold stuff, the Kickstarter, that's a whole thing. That takes a whole team. And it was more than just like simply Felix converting everything from 3.5 to 5th edition that he had worked on in his notes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The thing that a lot of people don't immediately realize is, like, in order to do like a big successful Kickstarter, you have to spend money first.
Facts.
Yeah. It's not just you do the Kickstarter, you get money. You have to spend money. You have to have like a network. You already have to be like, how would I say, establish it enough to be able to get a thing, to be able to do a network, to be able to spend the money. It's a whole structure. You gotta have a structure in place to even get to the point of doing a Kickstarter. And if you try doing it without that structure, chances are it's gonna be as big or as successful or even happen at all.
Yeah,
that's part
like
of that.
Not everyone can be like Amethyst Dragon, where he's just like, I'm gonna write a 500 plus page book, and it's gonna be really big, really thick, and I'll hire someone to do a little bit of art here and there, but for the most part, it's all me. And just like that,
the hiring part is the important part. I don't got money, man. I want to meet the guy named Money.
Feel
He's a good guy.
Yeah, like that dude goes hard on his stuff.
But
like I was saying a little bit earlier,
it's a whole different kind of dedication.
It really is.
So much time we gotta put into this stuff. It's crazy.
But hey,
and there is still the chance of it not happening at all. That's the
Well, maybe we can utilize we get lots of homebrew creators on the show. And a lot of people join the TheNerdMilitia server. Maybe we could easily, if we just get the right members that are motivated enough, hey, maybe you can't do it alone, but what if we do it together? Huh?
Yeah,
Now I'm
exactly.
motivated.
That's kind of what we want to use the Nerd Militia as, our own kind of basis for people to start off of.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
think
Kind of boost themselves.
even just doing the networking is already like a great thing. Yeah. It's already a great asset, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great
'Cause
asset. Great
it's
asset.
amazing what people know just off of like little conversations we have with people.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'd never know, honestly. It just
I mean, I can speak for myself. I don't think I can speak for anyone else, but speaking for myself, I'm always down for doing stuff, collaborations, content. Like the funny thing is that I'm sure you guys have seen like some of my work before. I like to be like this perfectionist motherfucker. I like to make my brews all pretty and with a different design for each of them that matches the theming of the brew. I like to do it like I like to be a fucking show off, So it takes time. It takes time and effort.
This
And
is
I gotta
true.
have the right mindset. So because it takes time, I have like about 50 or 60 finished fucking brews when it comes to text. They're finished.
Oh,
They're there.
damn.
Everything's there. And it's just a backlog, just like a waiting queue of what am I gonna actually do the document for and post it on the internet next. And I'm like, okay, I have like dozens upon dozens of stuff that I could just do the document and post. Which one am I gonna do now? Oh, oops, new idea just came. Oops, new meme I want to translate. Oops. It just never ends. It's a never-ending backlog,
Oh, absolutely. Like that's where Amethyst Dragon kind of ended up becoming the man of over 1,700 homebrews. Like he starts one idea and then another one comes in, and before you know it, he's got a 500-page thick book and a backlog of stuff that's not going in the book.
Like, oh my god, I have such a fear that like, oh my god, I wrote so much cool stuff that I just haven't posted yet and no one has seen it. I hope I actually get to post it someday. I hope it doesn't just get forgotten on my files or something. But it's so much stuff, and so much little time to do it like I want to do.
Yeah, like I feel that on a spiritual level, because like that's why we started the Nerd Militia on the whole. It's just like I have a deep fear that if I don't do my creative stuff, then all these ideas that I've been jotting down over the years, they're just gonna drift and fizzle away, and like those ideas die with me, never getting shared. And if they die with me, like I don't get the satisfaction of sharing those with people, because desperately as a creative type and a nerd, I want other people to be like, hey, what about this thing? That's cool, right?
Dude, that's exactly why I do, the segment that I do. I love monsters and I love creatures. I'm always like, hey, check this out. This is cool. Like, and I love like the connections and like being able to learn more about like mythologies and religions and cultures. You know what I mean? That's my fucking vibe.
You got it right on, Sam. You got it right on. Like the sharing aspect. Especially from someone who's a hobbyist like me, I'm not gaining any money from this. No, it's a hobby. I just like to do it. I have a Ko-fi. I'm planning on making a Patreon because I've been incentivized to do so. But I'm not gaining any money from this. Sometimes I get a commission, but it's like they're paying for my service, right? Sometimes I get a commission, but it's not nearly enough to be called like an income source. Right. So it's pretty much a hobby. And as a hobby, like what am I doing this for? Because I want to share, because I want people to use it, because like the feeling you get when someone goes, hey, I used this stat block you created in a one shot with my kids and they loved it. Bro, hearing that stuff is just amazing, That is how you do it, right?
That's exactly why we do anything that we do, because like we want to like just all these little babies of ideas, like all our ideas are our babies, effectively. And you want to see them just go out into the world and you grow and become something, and then like they interact, and then people are like, hey, I really appreciate this thing, this one thing, like it made my day a little bit better.
Right. I like to think that everyone. What are the kinds of dreams, right? What are the kinds of dreams that people have? I want to be famous. I want to be rich. I want to
Yeah,
do this. I
yeah.
want to accomplish this. I want to get into a high position. In a way, every single big dream that anyone has ever had has one thing in common. They want to influence the world around them in some way,
They want to
right?
leave behind something.
Not necessarily
Yeah.
leave behind.
Yeah,
Like
but,
why do you want to leave behind something for when you're not here?
yeah.
That the only thing that actually matters about that is because while you're still alive, you get the satisfied feeling of
Mm.
thinking to yourself, even when I'm not here, people are gonna remember me or remember
Mm.
something I made. It's
Yeah.
all about feeling that you made an influence on stuff around you, right? And
Mm.
even if it's small, when we do stuff like that, creative people create something, put it out there, and other people react to it, like you're feeling that influence, even if it's a really small scale, you get the
Mm.
feeling, the satisfaction of knowing that somewhere out there in the other side of the planet, someone used something that I wrote, that I edited, that I made a Photoshop document, that I made a homebrew document, that I posted on Reddit, that I wrote the title. Someone eventually saw that, took and used it and have fun with it.
Yeah.
That idea, that visualization in my mind that, oh, there are kids playing with my stuff on their table. That's it. you know
Yeah.
just that knowing is not something I imagine, it's something that happened. you know
Straight
just
up.
that for me is enough. It's why I keep doing it. Oh, as long as I keep having to do it, right?
It's
A lot of
rewarding,
people try
really.
to make it into a job in order to keep doing it, right? And that's the reason why a lot of people try to make it into a job. Like,
Yeah.
oh, if I can gain an actual source of income and make it into my bread and butter, if I can live off of making homebrew content or TTRPG third-party content, that means I keep doing it, right? Because if they
Right.
don't do that, they'll most likely have to stop because real life happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
And
also an
really,
aspect
it
that
hurts to stop that kind of stuff. It's like every time a
exactly.
DM has to put a campaign on indefinite hiatus because
Oh,
their personal life has gotten in the way, and then like, well, oh, that creative train
yeah.
has been stopped, and
You
like
can't get it back.
the ideas die with it, and it's just
The real
it
BBG was
sucks.
always real life.
It
Yeah.
really
BBG was always
is.
real life.
Honestly.
And like honest nothing what you said, I couldn't resonate with that possibly more than I do now, because
Yeah.
all I've for me all I've wanted to do is be like some kind of media producer, because there's just too many ideas floating around. Gotta get them out there.
Gotta do something with them, right? Gotta
Exactly.
make them not be ideas. Right? I
Yeah.
gotta turn them into something that is not just an idea floating around in my head.
I feel
I
like
get it.
everyone in some aspect wants to create. Like I feel like human nature is to like want to make something and to want to like
Yeah.
like you were just saying, like just kind of like affect the world around us.
Yeah.
That's all we're trying to do with this podcast, and with what
If,
you're trying to do with your creations and stuff. And I love it. It's so
I,
nice.
if not create, they want to accomplish something, right?
Yeah.
Like, to a lot of people, accomplishing something is a way of influencing, I don't know, maybe their own lives, not necessarily everything around them so
Mhm.
much, but it is a way of influencing their lives. For example, my friends, a lot that play D&D with me, a lot of them aren't like creatively inclined like I am, but they are very much like power gamers. They love the feeling of, I completed this game, I did a platinum on this game, I did this
yeah.
speedrun challenge. They're not creating, but they're accomplishing stuff that
Yeah.
matters to
Absolutely.
them. That matters to them.
Yeah.
Serotonin.
And honestly, just
Man.
like when you're in a game, that's a shared experience. That's a shared adventure. There's nothing more interesting than the just the experience of someone that is remembering a game that they were in, and they will vividly
Yeah.
remember everything that happened
Mm,
in the game in a scenario and describe it to
mhm.
you as if they were actually there. And that's just a magical
True.
moment.
Living vicariously, man.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so
What do you mean
true.
I wasn't part of the Dragon's Dogma game? What do you mean I wasn't part of that party of those characters? I was there, man. What do you mean?
Yeah, it's just like I've watched nations fall and slayed dragons. I was
Man.
there.
I wasn't playing the game. I was there, man.
Yeah,
What do you
we
mean I'm
are the
not?
game.
Like, what do you mean I'm not the Herald of Untrusted?
Alright.
Like,
Oh, crap.
Dragon Age. Dragon Age was crazy, man. Such a good franchise.
I tried it once. I didn't get too far into it because I have commitment issues.
At least you are self-aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dragon Age Origins specifically is one of the best gaming experiences I've ever had.
That was the one that I tried. I remember
man.
really liking it, but like you said, life gets in the way, and it's just like I didn't
I
keep
get
on
it.
it.
I took a few months to finish it. Like the fact that the game got me hooked straight for months is a testament in itself, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Like I feel that way
What was
about
the
Baldur's Gate.
game you most Baldur's Gate, nice. What was the game you most remember fondly about, Sam?
Sorry, what was that? Couldn't really hear you.
Oh, the game you most remember fondly about.
Oh man, I was always a big like Skyrim, Monster Hunter, like Fallout, you know, that kind of era of stuff.
Fallout New Vegas?
Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 mostly. What's another one? I was always very, very big with like Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah!
Oh
Hell
man.
yeah!
That comes to mind. Like
Hell yeah!
I love stuff like
my wife
that.
loves that stuff.
I mean, that was always something that like me and my dad played a lot together. And like it was
Did you know that Ratchet and Clank 3 Up Your Arsenal was the first video game, like console video game I ever played?
Are you serious? That's awesome. That's a good one too.
I think it was probably a big part of why I eventually played games and pop culture as a whole, because the first real video game experience I had on console was that game. And what can be said about that game, man? What cannot be said?
Honestly,
what a video game as video game.
Yeah, honestly.
Hell,
oh my god! And another one that comes to mind, fucking like God of War and Dante's Inferno. You know,
I didn't play 1 and 2. I played Dante's Inferno. That was so good. Man. I didn't play 1 and 2, but I played 3. Like I remember that it was the flagship of the PlayStation 3's launch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
bro.
Sure.
God of War 3 was such a hype injection onto your veins. Like you start the game and okay, I know that it's the third one, so I know that I've missed some story. I've missed the first 2 games. I am aware of that. But even so, even if you're aware, like as someone who had never interacted with anything God of War before, and you're just getting your first PlayStation 3 and come to that game and you're like, okay, I know I missed some stuff. Let's see what the fuck is. Oh my god, you know, the game just starts full throttle, it keeps going full throttle, it goes beyond full throttle, and then it just ends. That's God of War. It's like a Jason Statham movie. It just doesn't stop right until the end, man.
Yeah, that's straight how the entire series goes. Like I've played some, but mostly I've just watched other people play, because like when you're hanging out with your friends and you always got like that one buddy that's like ridiculously into God of War.
Yeah, I mean, can't blame you. God of War 3 is my jam, man. That is a hype injection. I love that game.
Absolutely.
So much.
I'd imagine there's a lot to learn from God of War as a DM. Like one of the first campaigns that I ran as a DM, I didn't know any traditional D&D pantheons, so I'm like, fuck it. We're going Greek, guys. Greek pantheon all the way. And if you want to be the party paladin and swear yourself to Dionysus, go right ahead. Woo-hoo.
I feel like this is a pretty good transition for me to get into the monster here.
Especially if your players are also not familiar with it, you know. If they're all like new to D&D, that can work extremely well, I think. You know,
absolutely.
Co-opting from media they're already familiar with, you know.
Yeah, and maybe if you have like a player that's a Percy Jackson fan, then
Oh yeah, true. Just take all the franchises that do that adapt Greek mythology and just mix it all together. Do a little Fortnite, if you will.
Yeah, throw it all in the blender, mix it up, see what happens. Like for me, my name is Greek, so it's just like, okay, by you know the nature of it, I have to know some Greek stuff. I like if your name is Orion and you can't shoot a bow and you don't know anything about Greek mythology, sorry, man, the council won't accept.
Honor-bound duty. Like, if you don't know Greek stuff, your name is revoked. You are no longer allowed to use the name Arya. It's like the vegan police, but the Greek police.
Exactly. I'm sure there's lots of names out there like that. You know what I mean? Like, Let's see.
I thought you were gonna say. I'm sure there's lots of Greek police out there.
Greek police. I can only ever think of this one Greek security guard I knew, and like this one single quote from him that resonates in my mind, where he's just like, "Hey, you sound like you have big balls in your mouth," and he just because he
don't
was
think
a
I
shit.
even want to.
He was shit talking
Sorry.
this one kid, and it was hilarious.
I don't think I even want to know the context of that one. I think it's funnier if I don't know the context.
The
go ahead
context
and,
is
move on
underwhelming,
here
but
if
the
you would like.
viciousness of his insults.
That's why it
are
was
great.
better without context.
Yeah. Hold on, we do actually have some segments here we can get through.
Oh yeah, before we get into
some
segments,
kind of-
I forgot to answer your question.
Oh yeah, which one?
You had asked me. What's my favorite type of homebrew to make?
Oh man,
right?
I was like,
Knowing that I remember.
Oh, we get so
Knowing
lost
that
on
I'm
this show.
I mean, I think it's part of every podcast, right?
yeah,
Let us be
honestly,
real.
Yeah.
we should be vibing.
I mean, you asked, I think, yeah. Knowing that I'm an avid fan of pop culture, what are my favorite types of brew? It's an interesting question because I don't know if you guys are aware, but one of the things that I'm probably more so well known for as a brewer is because I do a lot of like reference brews. For example, the last really big one that popped off in terms of numbers on UA was my Little Company Warlock, right?
Oh yeah,
Little
Ooh.
page from the company. It's literally like you get a functioning game of Little Company by playing that subclass, pretty much. So it's just
I
stuff
think
I like
I
to
saw
do.
that once, but didn't get like too into reading it because like because
It's a big one.
like I can only share like so much in our
super
homebrew
interesting.
segment on this show, and like
No,
it's
yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
real
Like,
shame.
you're not gonna be able to
you know?
class, right? Some of my subclasses, sometimes people go like, "Oh, this just looks like a class," and I'm like,
right.
it's not. But I get what you're saying. Though. Like 10 pages on a subclass, I get it. I get what you mean. But like, I don't know if I would say those are necessary favorite types of brews to make, because I think my answer will be, what is my favorite type of brew to make? Whatever is on my mind at the moment.
Yeah.
That's much it. Like my favorite type of brew to make is the thing that is obsessing my mind at the moment.
Yeah.
So if I like, oh shit, Tekken 8 just launched. Oh my god, that was so cool. Oh my god, they used the theme on this cutscene, the Jin Kazama's theme from Tekken 3. They made a remix of it. Oh my god, that's so cool, you know.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Turns out I just did a whole set of character feats that are Tekken.
Nice.
So you know that happens. Like, oh yeah, I got that, dozen 60 brew log, all of them ready to go. Whoops, that's the thing I'm obsessed with right now. There you go.
Right.
Where will you
It
be
just
when
happens.
I
inspiration
imagine
strikes?
that's very similar for many creators. They just kind of have to be able to take that spur of the moment inspiration.
Yeah. Like I remember the Shadow Wizard money game meme was going around.
Oh my
I saw
God.
one video.
I
left
remember that.
Because I saw that one video, like
Wait, that's
3
one of
or
your
4 more
homebrews
appear on
that
my
we
feed.
brought in on the show. That was it.
Oh yeah.
It was one of the
It
ones
was
that I
escaping
picked,
me
wasn't
which
it?
one of your brews we brought on, and that was the one, the Shadow Wizard money
That's
game.
right.
I think I did talk about that. That's so funny.
I think the guests you had at the time were like, yo, this one's cool because it touches on criminality. And I was watching, I was like, wait, does
And it kind of did, just a little bit.
it was fun because it was not something I intended, but completely made sense the way
Yeah.
he interpreted it. But like, yeah, like I remember I watched the video, I laughed my ass off, like, that's a funny meme. And then I watched 4 more videos and I kept laughing my ass off. And just, this is wizards.
Yeah.
Wizards are a thing that exists in D&D. Oh shit, the mechanics are already popping into my mind. Oh shit, I did the subclass. Oh, well, that's well posted. And there you go.
Oh yeah.
900 upvotes because people love it.
That's awesome.
It just happens sometimes,
It really
I
does.
just take the meme and how would I translate this meme into like a character option?
Right.
And that question just births it. From that question alone, the whole thing is just birthed. It's sometimes like it's what I like to say. When inspiration strikes, it's like it's fast. It's a fast process.
Yeah.
I am privileged enough, blessed enough to be able to capitalize on these inspiration moments to like go on my Word document and just write it all down before it goes away. Like you
Yeah.
say.
I love that.
Yeah, pretty
Thank
much.
you
I
for
think that's my answer. Like,
experience.
what is my favorite type of brew to do? Whatever I'm obsessed with at the
Yeah.
moment. If it's a reference, if it's a completely new idea that came into, whatever it is. If
It's kind of the
I'm
way
vibing with it right now,
everyone is
that's my
too.
favorite thing. Yeah.
Oh,
And that's really
absolutely.
funny because like dating an artist too, like I see that a
Oh.
lot, where she'll just kind of take whatever inspires her and run with it in the moment. Maybe she'll make a bunch of like the same kind of theme and she'll flip between them. Like it's always nice to see like the artistic process. And I do find like homebrew creators to be artists, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like, there are a lot of people that also do their own art for their brews.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
If you don't
absolutely.
Yeah.
make your own artwork, like visual artwork
Yeah.
for your
And
brews,
even if you use
people
AI,
gotta,
you know, it's fine.
even in I controversial take, sorry,
Mhm.
but even
Yeah.
AI has some work to it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so you never used AI before. You have to learn how to do prompts. You have to keep trying a lot of different combinations. I am aware that it's not just you click about it happens and there you
Right.
go. So like, but regardless of how you do the artwork, for example, what I do is like I spend hours upon hours searching for the right artwork to use. Sometimes I take multiple artworks, extract a different piece of those artworks, and mix them together into a new composition, which essentially becomes a new image that didn't exist before.
Right.
I eventually learned that that's called photo bashing. So I can say that now. I can say that
I did
I'm
not
an
know that.
adaptive photo bashing, right?
Okay,
That's
so
what I always do.
learn something new every day.
Yeah.
What?
Learn something new every day. I did not know
Or
that.
something exactly. I didn't know there was a term for it, but it sure as hell is useful to know that there's a just drop, Many people know what I mean. But like, that's what I do in my case. But regardless of how you do your artwork, people gotta remember that, bro. What is homebrew? Even if you're shit,
Yeah.
even if you're a shit at balancing, even if you don't give a fuck, if your shit is the most overpowered, if you make a subclass and it is usable, and especially so if it is minimally balanced,
Mm.
creative writing,
Mm.
game design, knowledge of
Absolutely.
grammar, knowledge of syntaxes,
Right.
right?
It helps a lot. Like,
Diagram, typesetting, composition. All of those are artistic skills that you're employing to make the homebrew. And if you use homebrew like I do, you also gotta know programming,
Yeah.
basic programming, because that shit is CSS, if I'm not mistaken.
So true.
yeah, a little CSS, a little HTML. And that's actually something
Yeah.
I got some help out of ChatGPT for, because I taught myself
Oh.
HTML and CSS years ago. But like teaching yourself something and not keeping up with it, you get rusty real fucking quick. So it's just
Yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
here, help me format this into HTML, CSS. Okay, cool. Copy, paste, and then use what knowledge I do have to just kind of, okay, let me rearrange that, move that right there. That's not quite working, so
I
cut
can
that
imagine how it
out.
can be helpful to a lot of people. Yeah. Like, I personally don't want to use it. I don't want to become like even minimally dependent on it.
Mm.
But I can absolutely imagine how helpful it must be, how practical it must be for people who don't have like
Yeah.
this luxury that I have to be able to just brute force my way through making it all myself.
I feel that. It's
Not
one of those
everyone,
things
not
where
everyone has that luxury,
yeah, I feel like for me, it's like if I use GPT, it's like I'm gonna brain dump all of it right into it. It's like just right into it, and then I put all of that in quotes, and then I just type in, or I'll just tell it to organize the information using the criteria that I determine, and it's like boom, organized.
Oh, so you just told it, hey Jarvis, do this completely impossible thing for me. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, there you go, Mr.
Yeah,
You
Yeah,
can
just-
now have time travel. Oh, thank you, Jarvis.
yeah, just take my mind brain goop and just turn this
And make it into something that exists.
yeah, just take this and
And that's
make it workable.
absolutely means that you're the author.
Yeah.
That absolutely means it, right?
I would
Avengers
say so.
Endgame, ladies and gentlemen.
Adventures Endgame.
You now have time travel. Amazing.
Ooh. Sam, you had a
Man,
monster?
Oh yeah. So today, to kind of match the theme of what I've been talking about lately, we talked about the gin, talked about the the Ifrit, now I'm going to talk
Mhm.
about the Tao.
There is a trend here.
Yeah.
The Tao?
I've been going through them a little bit. I find them pretty interesting.
Wait, you said you're gonna talk about the dad?
The Tao.
Oh, I was like, damn, the worst scripted of them all, the dad.
Mysterious, disappearing randomly.
He actually came back with the milk, but it was cursed milk.
So standing at about 8
My
to
kids
11
joke about
feet.
that all the time.
Really?
So standing about 8 to 11 feet tall, stocky, and muscular, the Tao first appeared in Dragon number 66 in an article by Gary Gygax, alongside the Merid and the John.
Muscular.
Yeah.
Do you got like some like an image or a reading from a text? I want to look at it as well.
Yeah. Orion should be able to put up some images.
I want to look at whatever you're looking right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I write my own like notes page, but I do put some
Show me
pictures
the
on it.
forbidden knowledge. Show me the
Okay.
cursed knowledge.
Sure, Orion will put some up in a moment.
Yeah,
So
Give me the visions.
the monsters know what they're doing, book states. The four elements of air, earth, fire, and water originated with the Greeks, but somewhere along the line, some D&D writer must have read that jinn, an Arab myth, were supernatural beings of air, and the Freaks were supernatural beings of fire, decided that there had to be corresponding entities of water and earth too, and shoehorned Marids into the genies of water role, maybe because of the syllable mar means sea in Latin. In Arabic, however, Marid means defiant or rebellious, and it's used to describe all sorts of troublemaking creatures, including not only certain genies, but demons and giants as well. And to anyone who has listened to a previous episode where I talk about the Ifrits, they were especially, rebellious and defiant, as is the nature of fire.
Oh, it's an elemental.
Right. Yes. So
I
the
did
Tao,
put a little thing in the chat there.
yeah, cool. So the Tao are the Earth plane equivalent of the Ifrit.
Yeah.
I see.
So I want to talk a
So
little bit about
they're a type
like,
of djinn.
Taoism.
They're Earth djinn.
Yeah, right. So I'm going to talk a little bit
Specific-
about Taoism here to kind of give you a little bit of a background.
They refer to. I
So
see.
the Tao is low and receiving as a valley, soft and life-giving as water, and it is the mysterious female, the source of all life, the mother of the 10,000 things. Human beings should become weak and yielding as water that overcomes the hard and the strong, as always, and always take the low ground. They should develop their male and female size, but prefer femininity, feed on the mother, and find within themselves the well that never runs dry. Tao is also the axis, the ridgepole, the pivot, and the empty center of the hub. The sage is the useless tree, or the gourd too large to be fashioned into implements. A frequent metaphor for the working of the Tao is the incommutable ability to be skillful at a craft. Skilled artisans do not ponder their actions, but in union with the Tao of their subjects, they do their work reflexively and without conscious intent. And I find this super interesting considering everything we've talked about.
It seems like they are the dwarves of jinn.
Basically,
That's a good way to put it.
It's a good way to like represent the like earth nature,
Yeah.
I like it.
And I always
a
think
little
of
bit
dwarves
here.
as just these craftsmen. You know what I mean? Just like
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's the thing I'm going to talk about here in a minute. The Tao, especially, are master craftsmen.
See?
Yeah.
It all comes together.
A little bit.
When I think of dwarven culture, the first thing that comes, believe it or not, is the earthbenders from the original Avatar.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
And what's really
I
funny
feel
about that, the earth plane, I'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. But the earth plane is like, people do go there because it's a huge like mining opportunity, right? But it's extremely dangerous. There's no air, there's no light, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's cool.
Shit like that. But
Yeah.
That's a,
people who go to the elemental planes and stuff like that, they go to the earth plane for the mining opportunity.
that's so cool. I never thought about that because it's a completely like it's a world building reason
Yeah.
for why like any being would be in that place, because usually you see a lot of like, oh, the elemental plane of fire where it comes dragon BBGs and elemental BBGs, all kinds of BBGs.
Right.
Like, okay, it's just a big plane of nothing but fire. No one would want to go there. The only thing that comes
You
from
have the
there is
city
big
of
monsters
grass with
that
the
we have to
freaks,
kill.
you know.
But then now you're saying, no, the other elemental planes, you have completely like logical reasons for people to want to go into them.
Yeah.
Materials, like, oh
Yeah.
shit,
Like,
mind blown.
imagine the kind of things
Yeah.
and materials and items you could find in the earth. Like, I
And
imagine
now you can
any
actually
dwarf.
try and create a reason for why people want to go into the elemental plane of fire in the first place.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some materials there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about Taoism here as a kind of a relation to Taoism. So in Taoism, related traditions and other Chinese religions and sects who incorporate it into their worldviews believe the Tao or the Tao belief is the natural way of the universe, whose character one's intuition must discern to realize the potential for individual wisdom, as conceived in the context of East Asian philosophy, religion, and related traditions. This seeing of life cannot be grasped as a concept, rather it is seen through actual living experience of one's everyday being. His name derives from a Chinese character with meanings including way, path, road, and sometimes doctrine or principle. In the Tao Te Ching, which I believe is a book, Lao Tzu explains that the Tao is not a name for a thing, but the underlying natural order of the universe, whose ultimate essence is difficult to circumscribe because it is non-conceptual, yet evident in one's being of aliveness. I love this.
I actually
The
have
Tao
a
is
copy of that.
eternally
I actually have a copy
Really?
of that on my bookshelf.
Awesome. The Tao is eternally nameless and should be distinguished from the countless named things that are considered to be its manifestations, the reality of life for the descriptions of it. I love that.
Eternally named.
And I do believe that the Tao and the cultures of the Earth plane do kind of hold this philosophy. You know,
It's kind of interesting how it's a complete counterpart to stuff like demons and devils and
Yeah.
their true
but
name.
what's really interesting is the Tao and things from the Earth plane are always neutral evil.
Really?
Neutral evil.
Yeah.
Huh.
Huh.
Maybe
Specifically,
there's some
why?
differences, but the Tao especially are neutral evil.
I mean, the
believe
fact that
it's
it's unexpected
because-
makes it interesting, in my opinion.
I believe
Yeah.
it's because they are usually like of the merchant variety, and they deal with a lot of materials. of
Materialism.
value,
That's what it is.
We all know merchants are evil by nature.
right? Basically like that. So, and
Nothing personal,
another
kid.
reason
It's just
I'm
business.
going to get into here in a minute of why they're evil. Into the Forgotten Realms lore, the Tao were generally evil beings that saw nothing wrong in enslaving others, despite
Oh.
greedily fearing the loss of their own freedom and despising whoever would
boy.
imprison them. However, they would
Oh,
almost
boy.
always return acts of fairness and kindness, thus the neutralness. So Tao took great pride in things that were well made and plots that were well planned out. Of all the genie races, the Tao were considered to be the most industrious. They spent much of their time in the pursuit of mining, shaping, and digging, and it was these pursuits that made slavery so common in their society.
You know, as we've said before on this show, the children yearn for the
Mhm.
mines, and the
mean,
Tao firmly
Look.
believe this.
Look, if they're old enough to work, they're old enough to get the fucking job done, man.
Oh, that'd be a great plot hook for a campaign, though. Like a
Oh,
Tao
yeah?
slaver, it comes to the material plane to start kidnapping villages.
And
in the-
that's the thing. They do that. That's so funny. Man. It's so interesting.
You get like a series of villages disappearing overnight, and
Yeah.
and there's just like little left, but like some gemstone remains.
And you know, it's funny that you say that because the genies literally carved out an empire from the elemental plane of Earth called the Great Dismal Delve, based strongly on slave labor. They were ruled from their capital city of the sevenfold maze work by their great Khan Kabril al-Asara al-Zalazil. I almost said it without fucking up.
That sounds like something straight out of Doom.
And it's, you know, when I did the Afreet one, it was pretty much what you would expect. It was kind of like that, but worse.
Hey,
I like the
progress.
culture.
Got it.
Beyond the elemental plane of Earth, the Tao can be found living in great numbers on the quasi-elemental plane of dust, quasi-elemental plane of the minerals, plane of magma, and the plane of ooze.
Ooh. Plane of ooze?
Yeah, the
Yeah, that's
para-elemental plane
legit,
of ooze.
man. Like It seems like something out of Adventure Time, but it's canon to D&D. I love
The
that.
endless jar, where every single use is no. Forget what I just said. My dirty mind.
So
I
beyond
mean-
those planes, the Tao can be found roaming with magical
Fuck, my-
protection across all of
I
the
just got it.
moving forward. They magically protected, you know.
I'm sorry.
Sam,
I'm so sorry.
my mind is still stuck on the mineral plane, and I'm thinking like Futurama, like the fucking borax kid, just having like an entire area of borax people.
Dude, I can
That's
imagine
really
like
funny.
all kinds of like probably crystal creatures and
Yeah.
Oh, man.
things made out of like iron or whatever. That's fucking crazy.
I love things made out of
Yeah.
iron. I love metallic.
So they are known to, you know, roam around the inner planes, the astral, the ethereal, in search of things and creatures to enslave, right? So sometimes lone down
Damn.
can be found on the prime material plane, hoping to open up new markets and
for
supply
slaves.
lines for their
God
empires. When on that plane, they preferred to be in mountainous terrain, as it reminded them of their home plane, while mortal cities made them feel unease. Much like their home plane, some Dao ran gem mining operations on the material plane. When it came to specific locales on the material plane, they could essentially and especially be found in the wild regions of Zakara. So, I mean, like we were just saying, it could be a really cool plot point. You know, your party is in a mountainous region. They find a market or like a traveling merchant, you know, Dao. He has a few slaves or something.
On his way back into the Earth plane.
Mhm.
And, you know, it's just like kind of like one thing leads to another. But one of the things that really strikes me is that there's not one thing, but slavery is on that list of things that most people can agree that bad. You don't do it. That is evil shit.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
as soon as slavery shows up, it's like, okay, player in my mind is, you know what? Take the murder hobo shackles off. I'm killing this thing.
Yeah.
And like, you're
Right.
justified. It's actually
Yeah,
evil.
this is their culture. This is what they do. Like, it's just how their lives work. This is normal to them, and it's not
This is
necessarily.
how our brains are wired,
bad
by the way. This is
thing,
how
yeah.
we are all wired, by the way.
Yeah.
If we see something that we think is morally evil, we feel morally justified to do
Mhm.
evil.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it-
what do
that's-
you mean I'm doing evil? I'm not doing evil. I'm doing evil person.
Yeah.
That means I'm doing good.
That means I'm
right?
doing good. Yeah,
That is
right?
how we work.
Is that crazy?
Yeah,
So a
and
little bit, I
it
wanna talk
makes for
about
such a
the-
fun dynamic because, like,
It
a
really
lot of
does.
players like there are just like some players that love gray in their play settings, but other players
Yeah,
just
and they love like
yeah.
to question their own morals. I love
yeah.
that.
And this is one of those things that starts out with like it's black and white until it isn't.
Mhm.
Yeah. I like to think that these kind of situations are pretty much okay. Now you all got to be murder hobos without feeling guilty for it. Go
No
ahead, have
guilt.
fun, be happy.
But then you also have to think about it because say you free these slaves, right? This is their lives. What are they supposed to do now? Like,
You have to deal with the repercussions of freeing slaves. Like you create an
Yeah.
entire like underground railroad to the plane of Earth, which is literally all tunnels at this point.
Yeah, the brain of Earth.
And you're trying to like get all these slaves out, and then like, where are you gonna put them? Are you
Yeah,
just gonna
if
you're just gonna
saving
abandon them?
I think,
and then you have to deal with them
I think,
wanting
I
them
think
back.
freeing them, that will be the difference between freeing them and actually saving them.
Yeah.
If you just
Ah.
kill their captors and leave them there, you're freeing them, but you're not doing anything else besides that.
Right.
If you actually go to the trouble of taking them with you, finding somewhere for them to be, something for them to do, helping them, restart to a civilization,
Mhm.
that's actually saving them, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's the difference there. Giving them the option to do either one or the other, maybe a secret third option. That's a cool thing, right?
So
That's
I
a cool
thought
thing
it,
that only D&D can do. Or
I
I
thought it
guess
was a
only
cool
D&D
idea to
can
kind of give you guys a little bit of a background and description of the plane of Earth, right? Because why not? Before
All
I go
right.
into the abilities and stuff like that.
I'm already sold. You had
Hell
me
yeah.
already, but
See,
let's
this
hear
all
more.
goes into my idea that we need to do more with these planes, man. There's
You
so
know
that's
much
completely fair,
opportunity
for
here.
sure, yeah.
You know what, Sam? What if we dedicate like 1 month out of the year to just
Yeah.
like all the planes all the time.
I mean, I'm down.
All the
'Cause-
planes, all the time.
Yeah, because we do monsters on a regular basis. I think
Yeah.
just having an entire month, just like, hey, we got planes, all the planes. And
A monthly thing.
I mean, I've been
that
going
could be
through
cool,
them
you
a
know?
little bit. Yeah, why not?
That could be cool.
I mean,
Like,
we're
this is
already
the King of
kind of doing
Fire.
that this time. We're talking about. I mean, this past month, I've been talking about all the djinn and genies and stuff from each of the planes.
yeah, that
I was
kinda,
kind
like,
of
lends
planning
itself
to do
it.
the air and the water ones next.
Mm.
But anyway, well, the elemental plane of Earth was an infinite expanse of solid matter, pockmarketed by bubbles of other elements and riddled with fissures and tunnels, created by burrowing creatures or the occasional small mining operation. Ensconced in a few of these pockets were trading outposts and rare hidden wizard fortresses. Solid does not imply stationary. The substances of the plane were constantly moving in a slow, grinding motion, punctuated by earthquakes from small tremors to massively violent upheavals.
The grind never ends.
Often spaces were gradually filled by the relentless shifting, unless action were taken to prevent it. Air could be found in scattered pockets, but unbreathable gases were also present. Unprepared
So
travelers
bring your
lucky
canaries.
Breathable gases.
Yeah, honestly,
That's me in the bathroom right there.
because there's not supposed to really be
Methane.
air in the plane of Earth. So unprepared travelers lucky enough to arrive in a cavern might slowly
Lucky.
asphyxiate, while the unlucky quickly suffocated by being buried alive. Other pockets of magma, water, ooze, dust, or ash were particularly dangerous for miners if they accidentally breached one of these. No light existed in the plane of Earth except for rare luminous gems buried in the crushing darkness. Travelers able to pass through stone were effectively blind unless they used magic such as a ring of X-ray vision or until their eyes reached an open space where dark vision could operate, or a source of light could be provided. Hearing was also actually enhanced while encased in Earth, to the point where travelers could detect any movement through the rock within a certain radius of their position. And
That
the
makes
gravity
sense.
on the plane of Earth is described as being heavy. So,
Yeah, because like there's mass all around you,
yeah.
and I would imagine like it would be heavy gravity, but the direction of it would be kind of something that would be hard to determine. Because like
Yeah.
whatever surface you're walking on, like in my mind, you could like walk in a giant ass tunnel and walk all around the tunnel because gravity is
Exactly.
like there's just so much mass in every direction that gravity would literally you could be pulled to any surface that's walkable.
So unless
Now
you
let's
find,
take that and add the fact that we're thinking about mines, right? We're thinking about the plane of Earth being just an endless tunnels. If we think of tunnels and caverns, what do we think of? Mining sites, right?
Yeah.
So we think of drawers, we think of mines, we think of pickaxes. Take the usual like fantasy mining construction site with those sort of like what's the word? Like the thing that you find on amusement parks, roller coaster.
Oh,
Roller-
mining
yes,
cart and
yes.
stuff like
yeah,
that.
like the
like-
mining car roller coasters. Take that kind of scenario, that kind of scenery, and apply the no gravity thing to it.
Yes. Because like
Look at
it
the
could
stuff
be
you can imagine, bro.
you could have rails on the bottom, rails up on top, and then like the
Exactly.
workers are working the sides.
You could have a spiral rail that goes all throughout the single
Ooh.
gun. It could be some crazy shit.
Oh,
And
that would be
considering
wild.
a lot of the creatures that probably live in this plane have things like earth glide, like the like the Tao do. They're moving
glide?
through the stone.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And, they both live within and move through the stone itself. So it's like they're not in danger of like being crushed like a person from the prime material or needing to breathe or something like that. Like,
I would
It's
imagine
crazy.
that they'd sometimes forget about air until they're like, oh yeah, our slaves need that.
right, because they don't there's no air supposed to really be there. Like, I don't know, it's crazy. So
So cool.
it's kind of an overwrap of that. Now move into the abilities and stats of the Tao.
Are you seeing the same stat block that I linked or a different one?
Let me see. It should be the general 5th edition. Let me see here.
Because I just put DAO
Yes.
D&D on Google and it was the first one that appeared.
Yeah, this one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a strength of 23 for anyone not looking. We have a dex of 12, constitution of 24, intelligence of 12, wisdom of 13, and charisma of 14. And they are a CR 11 in most situations. Beyond their vast array of magical abilities, Dao were known to fight up close with their fists and mauls.
I'm gonna say right now that coming right out of the gate with the IRL fight score, that's a 10 out of 10. That's a 10 out of 10 nope for me.
No chance.
Dude, you're talking about something that can go full Danny Phantom, sink into the ground, and still attack me? No.
Custom 24, that's a solid rock, bro.
Yeah, dude. I ain't punching granite.
I mean, to be fair, this is like Earth.
Yeah, like
rock,
a true Earth.
The person, the thing, the creatures. I would expect a high con score for sure.
Oh, so moving to the first ability here, the Dao can burrow through non-magical, unworked earth and stone. While doing so, the Dao does not disturb the material it moves through. You know, Earth Glide is pretty standard, you would imagine. So next we have Elemental Demise. If the Dao dies, its body disintegrates into crystalline powder, leaving behind only equipment the Dao was wearing or carrying.
I like to imagine that that's a big-time drug.
Oh God, I imagine it does something.
Like someone, like there is a buyer in some of the realms for Dao dust. They love to snort that shit.
Gin narcotics are on demand, believe it or not.
Gin narcotics, he's got it.
So the Dao are innate spellcasters, and it is charisma, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I would honestly expect if any monster is gonna have it, I would expect this one to have like Constitution spellcasting.
Yeah, right.
Especially innate spellcasting, right?
That's so true. Or like honestly, even like a strength.
But then again, that would also mean they get a +7 plus.
Holy shit! Yeah, that would be
bonus, so.
That would be ridiculous.
Yeah. That would escalate. But hey, if you want to make them more difficult, like if your party is just slaughtering these things, then maybe that's the ticket right there.
Dude, and imagine the quality I imagine that this powder would be, or like what you could use it for. Enchantments will be crazy.
Yeah,
so anyway,
call it real spice.
So the spells that they have at will are Detect Evil and Good, Detect Magic, and Stone Shape. They have 3 days each, or three times a day each. Pass Wall, Move Earth, and Tongues. 1 day each. Conjure Elemental, with it only being Earth Elementals, obviously.
Okay.
Gaseous Form, Invisibility, Phantasmal Killer, Plane Shift, and Wall of Stone.
Damn, this shit got gaseous form. That's so.
I know, right?
That's
Invisibility.
Weird.
Phantasmal Killer. Oh my god.
Phantasmal Killer's like I'm out. That's done. Donezo.
Last but not least, we have Sure.
We got Plane Shift, bro. God damn.
Yeah.
And it's 1 day each, by the way. 1 day
it makes
each.
sense with these, running like slave trading operations and markets and.
I find it funny that it has sure-footed.
That is, do they even touch the ground?
Earth people, but at the same time, bro, the illustration shows it being like a Danny Phantom as sand ghost. Like,
doesn't even really have legs.
Sure-footed? You don't got legs, bro.
You can't get no sure-footed. You get no better sure-footed than that. I'm so sure I don't need legs.
The ability makes sense. The ability makes sense. I just don't like how it's named.
It's so
because
funny.
Like, what do you mean sure-footed?
It could just be like levitating or something. Like
it's not that it's sure-footed. It's not touching the ground. It can't.
It's not even touching the ground.
It's a fucking.
How are you gonna knock it prone?
Like, just call it sturdy. You know what I mean? Like sure-footed.
Yeah, that is
X that out. Sturdy.
10 out of 10 cannot fight, but think they are really cool.
You know, it's very seldom we get a 10 out of 10 would not fight, but
yes,
ironically enough, it is the one that you would live through because they would enslave you.
Yeah, this is true. They wouldn't kill you. They would just train you up, take you to the Earth plane, and make you a miner for the rest of your life.
Oh,
man, imagine like a campaign which is literally like, okay, you gotta go into the Earth, the plane of Earth to free the people that were enslaved to become miners. You're just freeing a whole lot of dwarves, bro.
Oh my god!
Or maybe
just my excuse to do a Deep Rock Galactic.
Dude, I would imagine like they especially would like to enslave dwarves.
Yes. Or what if the players are all or like a fresh batch of slaves?
Oh,
Yeah.
Prison Break.
Oh, that's really
That's
cool.
a good ass
Yeah,
setting,
Dude,
right?
I
that's a
would love
classic
more
trope.
campaigns where like you go and maybe you meet a merchant and they happen to be like a Dow or an Efreet or something, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Maybe it
having
wouldn't be an Efreet, maybe it'd be like a Madrid, but like
well, the
or
cool
Marid.
thing here is like this is the kind of setting where you get to have Prison Break and utilize dungeon, like classic dungeon crawl.
Dude, that'd be a sick
bro, you could have like you could
Holy.
have people have advantage or something or better roles on steering the fucking mine carts if they got vehicle proficiency. Like give some use to their
Yes,
proficiency. They don't
that's
have any
it.
use.
That's it.
Absolutely.
I
A
love it.
whole
You could do a lot of
minecart
cool stuff,
dungeon, that'd
man.
be so cool.
You could have like, oh, if you have proficiency with mining or depending on the background you have, if you know how to use a pickaxe to mine, you got a chance of finding some rare gems or rare magical item
Mm.
that you could use. You could get creative with it.
And then like
There's a lot of stuff
burrowing
you could do.
earth creatures that they'd have to like kind of live off the
Yeah!
worms that
If
live
you're like
in
a druid,
this.
you could go badger and just use your burrow speed. There's so much stuff
Yeah.
you could do.
That would be a reason to let your players have a burrow speed, and it wouldn't be overpowered anymore.
That would be a reason to let your players benefit from
Now
any
it could be like
ability
a
that they
giant
have that isn't
mole.
combat
or
focused.
something. That'd be really cool.
Mold
Dude, that'd
earth
be
would
so
be
cool.
like a necessary cantrip.
Oh, mold earth would be like a life.
Dude, imagine you're doing your mining duty for the day. You find a hidden cavern geode or whatever. There's like a crystalline creature in there. You kill it and you get the horde. That's so
The
cool.
mending cantrip will be useful.
That'd be
The prestidigitation cantrip, because let's say you broke out of your shackles, you could use it to create fake shackles to pretend that you're still like in space.
Yeah.
There's a
I mean,
lot
I
of stuff
imagine
you
the
can-
enslavement process is more than just shackles. But yeah.
They probably got their ways, but also at the same time, I'd imagine that, well, for the case of your players, like they would have to
players have
be
their ways.
one particularly lax Dow that they got cocky, they let their guard down.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see them getting their guard down for step block like that. I would be cocky too. God damn.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna fuck with me.
Yeah.
Most like mortals wouldn't
Shit.
even know what a Dow was. Like,
Especially if they got the constitution, innate spellcasting. I would be cocky too, man. God damn.
and I mean,
Yeah.
that's not even counting like this magic items they probably would have, like
Yeah.
what they would have learned. You know,
I think it would be an amazing campaign, to be honest. Really fun.
I think they would work as fantastic like traveling merchants, and like maybe you don't mess with their slave trade. Maybe they give you like an extra inventory.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
that trope of like, oh, look at this
Oh
fragile,
my god!
harmless NPC that I can
Oh.
clearly kill for fun, and then like, oh, you done goof. They're a level 20 arch wizard.
Dude, imagine
Might as
you
well
you
be.
beat a big bad, right? And you're like, you know what? I know a good place for you. Let's not kill him, guys. Let's
It's like, what if the Avatar
merchant.
gang tries to fuck with the cabbage man? Turns out
Let's fucking
he's
sell
actually
this big bad to this merchant.
the eldritch
we found
god
the
of
other day.
something, you know?
Oh my god!
It
Dude.
turns out the cabbage man was the Fire Lord in disguise all along.
You're like, hey, Mister,
So much
merchant,
potential.
You want this lich?
Oh, dude.
They're like, hey, yo, you got a lich?
I think in general, overall, I rate this rock and stone out of 10.
Yeah.
Rock and stone.
These are
it.
definitely a befriend and buy
Oh,
from
God.
type of.
You don't want to be on their bad side.
No,
I don't think you want to be on any of their sides, to be
that
honest.
is true.
Honestly,
Yeah, be out of
being
their
on their
way.
good side is going to get you on society's bad side, but
I mean,
you
look at that-
you
look at that
might be
giant
alive.
fucking hammer.
If I'm on the right side, I might just get hit with the point of that hammer.
This is
Exactly. I feel like
If
this
I'm
is
on their
a pretty
back side,
good
I might get hit with that
move
sand in my
into
face.
our homebrew segment.
oh, absolutely. All right.
Be excellent to each other.
Yes.
That's a reference.
Yeah.
It's a very different reference, but it is a reference.
I mean, the guitar riff really reminded me of that movie.
I can't blame you because like they're just like just
Yeah,
so cool.
like it was exactly the right vibe.
Yeah, it's a good
Makes me
vibe,
wish I could play guitar.
honestly. Now, Sam, given
Yes.
how big a monster that was, thankfully I have a very small homebrew this week. I present to you guys the fortune teller feat.
Okay.
Oh yeah, right. You mentioned it. Let me take a
Now,
look.
the fortune teller feat. Let me just adjust this for our viewers.
Maybe
Give
I
us
might have
give
seen
us
it.
a link or something.
Now that I remember, I might have seen this one. I might have.
Well,
Yeah, I
thankfully,
think I might have
Sam, I'll let you know what this does here. So the prerequisite is you got to be able to cast a spell in some way.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Oh,
you know,
cool. See?
you're kind of like attuned to the weave in some way. Your
Okay,
magic lets you see glimpses of the future, and
Do you got me?
divine. Yeah, so your magic lets you see glimpses of the future and divine how
Oh,
best
do
to
you got a
proceed.
link for it
It's on the stream.
on the screen?
I'll give you a link after. But like,
Okay.
so you gain the following benefits: a +1 to your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma.
Okay.
You learn the augury spell and can cast it as a ritual spell. As a reaction, when a hostile creature ends its turn within 30 feet of you, you can momentarily see into the future. The DM must tell you where that creature intends to move on its following turn. If the creature has not moved or been moved from its position at the start of its next turn, the creature must use all of its movement to move as close to the location the DM specified as possible. By the end of that creature's turn, you can use this. Okay, by the end of the creature's turn. You can use this ability once and regain the ability to do so again on a short or long rest. You can also expend a spell slot of any level to use this ability again.
Oh, look at
I
that!
like it.
Does the feat end on that?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
Nice.
okay, that is
That's
a
not
really
bad.
good feat.
That's not bad.
Very creative.
I
Very
like
creative.
that. Like it gives you it gives the DM control over a situation, and it makes you feel like you're seeing the future. You know?
Yeah, I could see this even going forward, as well as like you see it like an attack option or something. You see it spell before it uses it. You know?
Yeah,
It's very
tactics.
clever because it specifies that the DM has to be the one to say where the creature is gonna go, not you.
Yeah.
Right? You're not the one deciding where it's gonna go. The DM is deciding. So in a
Yeah.
way, you're forcing the DM to force things to happen in a certain way, and then the flavor is that it was always gonna happen that way. It was predicted.
Right.
Yeah,
It's a
because
clever way of spinning it, you know?
yeah, and it's almost metagamey, but not
Dude,
at
I
the
can
same
even,
time.
I can even see it being like you could twist it, you know, as the
It's
DM.
flavoring the metagaming as future side.
You're
That's the
like,
thing.
yeah, this
Yeah.
creature will move here, but doesn't tell you that it jumps there, it teleports there,
Yeah.
it runs
the DM doesn't
around.
tell you where it's gonna move.
It just tells
moves.
you that it ends up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
I
really,
like
really
that.
cool idea. Very, very clever, very creative.
Like
Very
it could
unique.
still like come up and attack you. It just ends its turn in this space.
Yeah.
I also like the only being able to be cast through this feat as a ritual specifically.
Yeah,
It makes sense, like for the flavor of it, because she's divining it. It's not instant, you know.
Yeah, you have to actually like focus on a situation, or
like you're only able to cast it as a ritual. It doesn't specify that you can use a spell slot to cast it. You can only cast it through this feat as a ritual. I like that.
Yeah,
it's a way of balancing it and making it more flavorful. In my opinion,
I could see this, definitely growing with, the caster.
This zone definitely took like a different approach from how I did the fortune teller feat, and I like it went in a completely different direction.
You did one as well?
Yeah, I'm.
Oh, I see.
It's finished and ready to go, and I just haven't made the document for you.
Right.
Because the time than writing.
Yeah, shout out to the creator of that fortune teller feat. I like it.
No,
yeah, the creator of this is Slade Man. I think I might have talked about one of his homebrews in the past, because like I know I've seen his work. I browse so much Unearthed Arcana on Reddit. It's crazy.
This will be my first time I think talking about a homebrew monster. So that's pretty cool.
All right.
You also brought a homebrew monster?
Yeah.
Ooh.
This
We're
will
on the
be
monster.
interesting.
Go ahead and move on to this one. Yeah, I was scrolling through and I saw this. And I was like, oh,
Please send me the link. I want to look at it.
what the hell is this? Oh, yeah, I got you right here.
Awesome.
So Ryan doesn't do it first.
I'm gonna pull it up on the stream so our viewers can
go ahead
check
and
that
send it
out.
in the-
Because that's
in
a
the
whole
general
lot of
chat for
monster
you.
right there, buddy.
It's something.
Whoa.
I
5
saw this and
months
I was just like,
ago.
holy shit.
How did you come across this one?
I was just scrolling through from Reddit.
On Reddit, really? But were you scrolling like top of the month or top of the year or some shit?
I'm not sure. I was just scrolling.
Because
yeah,
this
the
is 5
homepage.
months old.
Yeah.
Like, how did it appear on your feed if it's so old?
I'm not sure.
I mean, I'm glad it did because it looks
Yeah,
awesome. But
It's
it just
really fucking cool.
Maybe he was like
Right.
actively searching for something, and he had like a certain keyword.
Oh, sure.
oh, could be.
Anyway,
I just
so
remember.
in the accursed lands of the runelit expanse, a chilling and tragic transformation awaits those who fall victim to the iron curse. Once ordinary humans, they evolved into the terrifying Verudian, Veriduran, I believe. beings, beings ensnared by the relentless grasp of the malevolent curse. The iron curse slowly consumes their essence, infusing them with a vivid blood-red hue, marking the beginning of their gruesome metamorphosis. The twisted transformation commences with the lower extremities of the afflicted creature. The legs wither and harden, taking on a sinister tree-like texture as the curse progresses. As the transformation advances, the afflicted creatures become immobile, their bodies rooting deeply into the crimson earth. Their once recognizable forms giving way to a grotesque visage, akin to a blood-red tree. The Verudians become trapped in a horrific existence, part creature and part plant, forever marked by their tragic consequences of meddling with the celestial forces of the runelit expanse. This seems so cool.
That's so heavy. I love it.
I'm curious about this roomlit expanse.
So the runelit expanse is apparently something created by this homebrew creator.
Yeah, it sounded like their own setting.
Yeah.
I do have a little.
The second
here.
page does it, right?
Uh-huh.
The second page covers it.
I can talk about it a little bit. So getting into this creature here, it is a medium plant, chaotic evil, armor class of 15, with
It's a plant.
strength of 16, dexterity of 10, constitution of 20, toughness of 7, wisdom of 12, and charisma of 6. Looks to have damage resistances of bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks. Understands common but cannot speak, and is a challenge rating 4. So pretty basic as far as stats go, except for that constitution.
Yeah.
So we have
con
keen
is
smell.
big.
Yeah, has advantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on smell. Excuse me, I gotta. Oh yeah.
Bless you.
Oh,
Yeah,
damn.
thank you. So we have
1d4 rolls.
iron-bound form. The Viridian's legs are now tree-like and rooted in place, making it immobile. It has resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical attacks. Its attacks also do an additional 2d6 piercing damage as thorns pierce through the branch-like limbs. Okay, cool. And then we have false appearance. While motionless, the Verudian is indistinguishable from a young blood-red tree. A DC 15 wisdom perception check reveals its true nature.
I love how it's like bolded there.
Yeah.
Bolded in red specifically.
And then this thing has
good.
multi-attack, a claw with a slam, as well as ironwood grasp. The Verudian targets one creature it can see within 30 feet. The target must succeed on DC 15 strength saving throw or be restrained, taking 2d10 piercing damage at the start of each of its turns. A creature restrained by the Verudian can use its action to make a DC 15 strength check, freeing itself on success. So this is a slowly drain you by grappling you and bleeding you dry with the thorns type of enemy.
Wow. Damn, these abilities are really cool, but they also seem really strong. Is this a CR4? Is it really just a CR4?
I imagine you have a few of these things. Oof. I mean,
because if they had like a grove That would
Yeah.
go hard. That's like
You stumble into like a clearing of these. Oh man.
I think this is beyond CR4 to be honest, but it's
Maybe.
hella cool. It's
Next
hella
up,
cool.
we have Iron Curse. Any creature grappled by the Viridian must succeed on a DC 15 con saving throw at the start of each of its turns or begin slowly turning into a Viridian. Its speed is
Damn.
reduced by 10 feet and gains vulnerability to fire damage.
Dang.
The transformation
Okay.
is permanent unless removed by greater restoration spell or similar magic.
oh, so you could
The
legit
wizard
just
casting fireball now.
so you could avoid the entire conflict
Oh.
by just using greater restoration.
Yeah.
I mean,
could-
could you though?
You could
You're just avoiding the
cure
transformation on
these
yourself.
things, right? Yeah, man. I wonder if you could cure these. I mean, they look too far gone. Maybe
You will probably want to do the greater restoration after you've killed the thing, because
Yeah.
there's nothing in the text specifying that after you do greater restoration,
yeah, that you're
rid
like
yourself of
immune
the
to
curse,
it or
that you
something.
can just go and do it again. You know?
Yeah, if they grapple you, you're fucking cooked.
Yeah. I'm telling bro, this.
And we
this
have
is
two.
tough.
We have two bonus actions here. It makes them. I feel like bonus actions on creatures make them a lot stronger.
Oh, absolutely. Like
Ah,
this
next
is
up.
I think you're right. This might be like the shade of CR4s.
I feel like because I don't know, man. I could
shadow-
see it
the
being,
shadow
it's
of
like
CR4.
situational.
If it didn't have the bonus action, I think I could see it
Yeah.
CR4, but having those bonus actions, bro. Nah.
First up, we have Thorn Burst being a recharge 5 or 6. The Viridian unleashes a burst of razor-sharp thorns in a 20-foot radius centered on itself. Each creature in the area must make a DC 15 dexterity saving throw, taking 6d6 piercing damage on a fail, half as much on a success. Additionally, creatures that fail the saving throw are restrained by the thorns until they use an action to make a DC 15 strength check to break free. Then we have Entangling Vines. The Viridian releases entangling vines from its body to ensnare a creature it can see within 30 feet. The target must succeed on a DC 15 strength saving throw or be restrained until the start of its turn. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
no,
that's pretty good.
Pretty solid.
Yeah. Like,
I love the like everything like DC this, DC this, DC
Yeah.
this.
it
All these are
doesn't, and
specifically
something to remember,
bolded
like
red.
it
I
doesn't
love
move, but it specifically wants to hold you in place. I like it.
Yeah, I think the
Very
only thing
creative.
tying it
It's
down
very,
to
very
CR4
scary.
Like
is
no,
like
yeah, I think
it
I get
being
why they
tied
put
down.
a CR4.
I mean, it
Yeah.
is super weak to
It
fire.
doesn't move,
apparently, too.
right? It doesn't move.
yeah,
So logic dictates that if you just stay from a distance, you can kill it
Yeah.
without that
And
much.
it
difference.
has some ensnaring. It doesn't seem to have any way to pull you closer to it.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
that's
unless you're
probably
melee,
why they put it as CR4.
yeah. Unless
yeah,
you're
this
like
is
a
an
melee,
ambush
really
type of thing where it's just
Exactly.
like it
It
tricks
has
you into
false
coming
appearance. It's
closer.
for
Like,
sure,
hey, I'm a
like-
tree.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just the tree, man. Come take
You
a
know,
piss
it's
on
funny
me.
because you could technically flavor this as a special type of mimic and it will work perfectly well.
Oh God, yeah.
Like a tree mimic.
Oh fuck.
You could flavor this as a tree mimic
Like an evil tree.
and it will work really well.
I could see that.
So, one last bit of flavor text here. The Viridian's existence is a stark reminder of the hubris that led to the moon shattering and the enduring torment that has brought upon the runelit expanse. Adventurers who encounter these creatures must tread carefully, for the Viridians are not simply twisted beings, they are living remnants of a devastating catastrophe.
Really cool.
Dude, the
So
art for
shout
the
out-
Runelit Expanse, like
Shout out
flavor-
to this creator.
The charts.
Relkitaku, I believe it. I'm not really sure how to say it,
Top-notch.
but shout out to all this. The Runelit Expanse stuff seems really fucking cool.
dude,
I'm
it's
gonna check out his
beautiful.
account, honestly.
Yeah, we would love to talk more about this. Maybe we can figure out what's going on with the
Dude,
Runelit
let's get
Expanse.
this guy on the show and talk about
That'd
this.
be cool.
Get
Shout
rid
out
of
to
this
you.
filthy perfectionist. Get this guy.
Honestly, like if you're gonna be like, hey, I need to make up all these homebrews and stuff, like maybe
No, he
what
did
you
more
need is a good
creatures from the Runelit
partner.
Expanse.
Like this
Yeah,
man knows
there's
how to
more
put something
creatures in, like, the
together.
series that I
He did
saw.
way more creatures.
A
There's
hemo,
a dragon. There's a
dragon
demon.
or whatever. It's fucking
There's
cool.
a skeletal blood mage from the Runelit Expanse.
It's so cool.
Wow.
I like it. But
Wow,
yeah, I think
there's
this
so
episode is
much.
getting a little long, so that's all I have for you guys.
All right.
Okay, I brought. I'm gonna follow him.
Yeah.
I brought a homebrew as well, right? Is
Oh
that
yeah,
okay?
go ahead and close this out with it.
I found it really fun, and said, oh, okay, if I'm gonna bring a homebrew piece, to look at with the guys as well. So the one that came to
yes.
my definitely this one.
Yes.
It was just it's like because it's like you remember what I said, right? Usually it's like whatever is on my mind is the type of stuff that is inspiring me right now or amusing me right now, be it a meme, an internet reference, a franchise, a video game, an anime, whatever. Usually that's the kind of stuff that is going to inspire me the most and be the most fun to turn into a homebrew. And didn't get to that point with Helldivers 2, but I was into it. I was into it. And then a beautiful day, I go on North Arcana and I see this fucking beauty, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Sacred Oath of the
Holy
Helldiver.
Bro.
God.
I see this shit and then I look at the altar and it's my boy, the Goose Quill. My
Goose
boy,
Quill.
my goose boy.
Oh, we love you, buddy. You do good work.
He's on my server too, man.
I believe we had the Goose Quill on once.
We did.
Yeah.
He was a cool dude.
And when I saw it was him, I was like, dude, post this on the other subreddit for the love of God. And then he
That's
did.
so cool.
And then he did well. And I was like, so happy. Yes. Because if you post it on the main Helldiver subreddit, more people that don't frequent your North Arcana are going to see your stuff. The thing with like reference brews, you have to post them outside the usual circle. You have to post it on the wider net.
There's a lot of overlap,
You gotta go to the dedicated like franchise subreddit. If I made, for example, a Friday Night Funkin' Bard, which I did, I gotta post it on the Friday Night Funkin' subreddit. I can't just have it limited to the Unearthed Arcana. Right. You gotta show it to more people who might not be that into D&D, but they're sure as hell are into the thing you're making a D&D brew off. So I saw this one, I was like, yes, I was so happy. And then I was like, oh, before he posted, like, did a second post on the main Helldiver subreddit, on my Discord server, I was like, man, the only thing I would change about it is like maybe add an optional feature about firearms, since they use guns in the game. And he was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll add that in. And then he just added it in and then made the second post. I was like, beautiful.
Man, that's really cool.
Would you guys like
to the Goose Quill?
You guys like to read it, or should I read it?
I mean, that is quite a lot. I'm looking at it now. You definitely link it in our description too.
Oh yeah, link it. I think I put it on the chat.
Oh yeah, that's really dope.
I can try to be fast if you want.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you, Ryan. Go for it.
Okay.
Well,
make it fun.
We can speed run this. Go right ahead.
Speed running. Okay, let me see what I can do.
To
take the oath of the Helldiver means to dedicate one's life to the fight for peace, liberty, and more than anything, manage the future. It means to fight the good fight against otherworldly threats which seek to undo the fabric of civilization as we know it. The tenets of the Helldiver. My blood is freedom. I will not conspire with oppressors of liberty. My blade is liberating. I will rid the oppressed from their shackles and guide them on a path to freedom. My allegiance is to democracy. I will not show its enemies mercy, for mercy is treason. Oath spells. Fog cloud and jump. Pyrotechnics and dark vision. Haste and slow. Faithful hound. Or fire. Conjure volley. And you gotta have it. Flame strike.
Yes.
Channel Channel democracy. When you take this oath at third level, you get the following 2 channel divinity options. See the sacred oath class feature for how channel divinity works. Hellpod. You can use your channel divinity to call for reinforcements in the heat of battle. As an action, you may choose one unconscious friendly creature within 60 feet of you. On the start of that creature's next turn, it regains 1 hit point. Additionally, you may use a number of hit dice equal to your charisma modifier, minimum of 1, to restore hit points. The allied creature then chooses a location within 30 feet of you, to which it is immediately teleported. I would probably flavor that as like the actual pod, but for mechanical sake, I think he just went with a simpler phrase. Immediately teleported. Okay, I get it.
Makes sense. Yeah.
If the space to which the allied. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
If the space to which the allied creature teleports is already occupied, all other creatures must make a dexterity saving throw equal to your spell save DC. Didn't need to specify that part, but it's okay. Or take 2d8 plus your levels in this class. Could have just say plus your paladin level. Bludgeoning damage. Regardless of whether the creature makes this save or not, it is pushed to the nearest available occupied space. After the creature is teleported, it is no longer considered prone, but can only move up to half its movement speed and take either an action or bonus action, not both. It just got reinforced into the battlefield after all. Similar to the game, I like it. Resupply. As part of a short rest, you can use your Channel Divinity to call in additional supplies. At the end of the short rest, 4 creatures of your choice, which I imagine can include yourself, gain an additional hit die to regain hit points.
Nice.
That's good.
Most people in the subreddit thought this was a little more underwhelming, but considering Hellpot is probably pretty good, I think it's okay, right? A little big, strong one, another, useful, but more so situational, maybe.
I think it's like
and then we
focusing
get
on the
power
flavor,
of
you know?
Yeah, no, it absolutely makes sense. Like, you could see the thing I liked about this one is because, of course, it's not exactly how I would have done it if I were to have tried to do something like this. But like the choice of class, the choice of naming, channel democracy,
Yes.
the design, like this is not like the usual homebrew design. This is not something that looks like WotC would have made it. It is specifically made to emulate the style of Helldivers.
Yeah, like I'm
like,
not familiar with it, but like I know of Helldivers, and I'm just appreciating everything about this. Like I'm so glad that you're reading this off because like you're really selling it.
Thank you. I'm trying. I'm trying to do the democracy. The whole thing.
I love it.
It's just really the whole vibe of Helldivers, For Super Earth, that the planet is literally Super Earth. It's literally the canonical name of it.
That's why they have like the bugs and the robots.
It's not America. Right? It's not Earth. It's Super Earth. I love it. It's just the goofiest thing, It's just the goofiest thing. Amazing vibe. So, sorry.
I was just thinking, like, it's that kind of over the top. This is awesome vibe, and that kind of energy. Yeah, like
it's like America, fuck yeah, but as a game.
Yeah,
and this is that game as a subclass.
I don't know what the actual term for it is, but I call it pseudo awesome, where it's just like something is like it's just like it really proclaims itself as being like, hey, fuck yeah, like over the top, awesome, like Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, it's satirical.
Yeah, like satirical awesome, like the pseudo awesome, where it's just like, oh yeah,
I get it. I get what you mean. Yeah, it could work absolutely. So like I like it because even though it's not exactly how I would have done it, it follows the same principle of I'm gonna try and translate not just what it is, how it works, if it's a video game, the mechanics of that are in the game, into the subclass or the brew or whatever, but pretty much the vibe. Like to really get the vibe, you got to fan that shit, right? Like I did a Tekken set of feats because I'm a real big Tekken fan. It was the first like fighting game that I ever played. It's part of my childhood, Right. So as a big fan of it, I get the vibe, And this is what I feel like. He played the game. He played with his friends. He got the vibe. Like he understood the assignment,
He got it.
Man understood the assignment. It was just amazing. There are some tweaks, of course. There are some balances. There are other people who do, of course. But he understood the assignment. He got the vibe perfectly, and I very appreciate it for that. What do you think so far, Sam?
I think that sounds really cool. I like it. I haven't played Helldivers too much, but I've watched a lot of videos on it.
Yeah, everyone's playing it, so it's not hard to find one of your streamers that you like to watch just going at it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
And let me continue with this is probably the most like debated part of the subclass that I saw in the comments of each post. Like, this feature right here is gonna turn some heads for sure. Of Liberty. And starting at 7th level, you inspire creatures of your choice within 10 feet of you with the righteous justice of freedom. While you're not incapacitated, you and creatures of your choice within 10 feet of you do not suffer penalties to their attack rolls from external sources, such as disadvantage from the Frostbite cantrip, or modifiers such as the Bane spell. When you reach 18th level in this class, the aura affects creatures within 30 feet of you. Yeah,
That's not bad.
All right.
That's pretty bonkers, bro. Because it's so broad. It's like, you and creatures of your choice in 10 feet of you, okay, the normal range of a paladin aura, just do not suffer any penalties to their attack rolls from any external sources. When you say external sources, it can be interpreted as anything that is not you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which pretty much amounts to literally anything.
Literally anything, yeah.
You're never going to get disadvantage. You're never going to get a negative modifier. You're never going to get anything that transforms your attack roll from anything beyond a normal attack roll. But you still get benefits. You can still get benefits. You're just never going to get any negative influence over your attack roll. Considering how broad that is and how useful that is, like, you're just never going to get a debuff to your attacks ever.
Yeah.
I think, like, as a DM, I would rule it that would be external things, like it says, but like environmental would be something else entirely. So, like, say you're slipping on a surface, okay, well, that's that thing, but like any active effects or things that would try to affect you, that none of those.
Yeah, maybe a specification like anything that specifically targets you or the allies within your aura.
Yeah.
Right? I would do that. Like, oh, if it's a debuff spell or effect that's specifically targeting you or a creature within your aura, it doesn't work. If it's like an area effect or like, oh, difficult terrain. I mean, to be fair, it doesn't specify that it specifically debuffs that affect your attack rolls. But I do still think that it's possibly too broad. You know, like if someone
maybe
says,
just a little bit more definition.
Yeah, a little more specification as to not be so completely applicable to anything that affects your attack rolls in any way, you know? Because if someone, if it is supposed to be like that, completely like anything that would ever affect your attack rolls just doesn't work. Like if someone looks at that and says that is too strong, I wouldn't blame them. You know, I wouldn't be mad at them for saying that.
Yeah, just a little tweak.
But it's hella fucking good. Like even if balance wise you could use some tweaks, you can see the vision, you can see the concept. You know, like Hour of Liberty, you're liberated from anything that will fuck up your attack rolls. You're always gonna be attacking right. You're always gonna be attacking well. I love that. It makes perfect sense. You know, it's a great mechanical translation of the concept he's trying to go for.
And on brand with what we were talking about earlier with freeing slaves.
Yeah.
This would be perfect for it.
I mean, Helldivers does a little different kind of liberation. Hey, let's go, man.
Hey, whatever works, right?
Liberty means different things to different people, apparently.
I mean, if you play Helldivers, you're probably going to understand what I mean. They're liberating the galaxy from anything undemocratic. And those giant bugs look very undemocratic to me.
Communist bugs.
I mean, funnily enough, they aren't communist bugs, but they literally are communist robots. They literally are communist robots in the game. They're the other type of enemy that you.
I love
commie bots.
Commie robots.
That's great.
I'm doing my part. At 15th level, when a friendly creature within 30 feet of you is hit with an attack by a creature that you can see, you may use your reaction to immediately move up to half your maximum speed and make one melee weapon attack against that creature without provoking an attack of opportunity.
Okay.
That's good.
I'm doing my part. That is a straight reference from the cutscene.
Nice.
Actually, no, that's the cool thing. This game is heavily inspired by an old movie called Starship Troopers.
Classic.
Yeah, cult classic in the sci-fi genre. And I'm doing my part, if I'm not mistaken, is a reference from one of the movie scenes. But a phrase that nonetheless became a meme with the popularization of this game because it is directly inspired by the movie. So like that's the thing. You can see this person knows the references. They knows the memes.
Right, they know what they're like talking about.
The community, you know, they play the game. They're a fan of it.
Absolutely.
I mean, you would imagine someone that goes to the trouble of making a subclass is a fan of the thing they're referencing, but
Yeah.
still, you can see that they know what they're doing, that they get the references. So, like, as someone who knows the reference, they're like, oh, this is awesome. This is exactly the type of reference that I would want to put in if I was making this, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, seeing someone do the exact type of brew that I like to do is like, oh, that's so cool, you know?
Yeah, there's something about like just seeing someone be like, "Hey, wait a minute, that's something that I would do in that way."
Exactly.
It's like
That's
they
like
see
the
me.
whole reason you're doing it, right? Like,
Exactly. He's like, oh shit, he understands me. He'll just be one of
just
my
like
own.
me for real.
He's just like me, for real, for real.
But
He'll
yeah,
just be one of my.
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was the vibe I got, which is why I'm like, okay, if there's a brew that I'm gonna like review on the podcast, it should be this one. It's recent. It spoke to me, you know. It's based on a very mainstream thing right now, so it makes sense to cover it, I think, you know.
Mm.
Herald of Managed Democracy. At 20th level, you gain the ability to harness the full power of Managed Democracy. As an action, you become an avatar of liberty, gaining the following benefits for 1 minute. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can make one additional attack as part of that action. You cannot be grappled, restrained, paralyzed, or stunned. If you are knocked unconscious while this feature is active, you may use your Channel Divinity Help Pod. Sorry, your Channel Democracy Help Pod once without needing to expend the use of your Channel Democracy to do so. Once while this feature is activated, you can use an action to cast Fireball at 5th level without expending.
Oh shit!
The Fireball's detonation is delayed, taking effect on the start of your next turn. That's probably a direct translation of one of the game's stratagems, which are like orbital strikes and attacks and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Yeah.
directly, you're only gonna know what this is referencing if you play the game or saw someone play it. But to be fair, it is kind of obvious that it's a kind of bomb of some sort,
Right. Some kind of like artillery.
Yeah, so like, okay, as it usually goes with paladins, you get a 1 minute super form, pretty much. But this one also lets you throw a fucking nuke.
That's pretty awesome.
Throwing nukes is definitely on brand for
Yeah.
Helldiver. I dig it. I mean, I would maybe make a comment about balancing because it gives you the super form and a fireball 5th level, etc. But this is literally 20th level. At that point, you're supposed to be a demigod. At that point,
exactly.
wizards can literally change reality on a whim. So,
Yeah.
At that point, I don't care.
No,
I look at this and I
Just
go,
let them have
hell
it at that point, you know?
America,
not?
fuck yeah. Super Earth, fuck yeah. Once you use this feature, you can use it again until you finish a long rest. Optional feature. The secrets of gunpowder weapons have been discovered in various corners of the D&D multiverse. If your dungeon master uses the rules on firearms in the Dungeon Master's Guide, you are proficient with them. And then there's the credits.
Nice.
I love it.
Artwork used in this document is property of Arrowhead Game Studios. The content of this document is an official fact. Not approved and endorsed by Wizards. Exposure to the materials created by the Goose Group.
Yeah.
Shout
I feel
out
like
to the
with that
Goose Quill.
Yeah, shout out to the
Shout
Goose
out to the
Quill. Thank you
Goose
for your
Quill.
creations.
I think he's probably going to enjoy this stream. He's probably going to enjoy this podcast, this episode.
Oh, for sure.
I hope everyone enjoys it. I hope it's entertaining.
Hope everyone loved listening to us for these 2 hours.
All right.
I'm glad you came, man. Nice to meet you.
Glad you can. Haha.
Oh.
But
What would you leave for the listeners and watchers out there?
And
For
where
anyone
can they
who
find
who may
and-
not know
yeah.
you? Yeah, where can they find
Oh,
you?
right,
Yeah,
right.
and where can they find it? That's what I was going to say.
Funnily enough, if you want, you could just link my Linktree link. You could just link my Linktree link.
No OnlyFans on there, right?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Fucking
Hey,
yet.
the Nerd Militia OnlyFans will come someday.
Put all the homebrew on
Hey.
OnlyFans. That's the hack
On
right
this
there.
economy, I ain't gonna root it out, bro.
We got all the spiciest homebrew on OnlyFans.
Man, on this economy, I ain't ruling anything out, man. God damn. But yeah, you got the link tree with Ko-Fi page, Reddit profile, Discord server, Instagram page, the Homebrew gallery. Maybe sometime in the future a Patreon. Who knows if I can find a way to make it work.
All right.
But yeah, this is the places where you find me. If you want to always be up to date with anything I post, anything I do, you can join my Discord server. I make sure to ping literally everyone in it whenever I post. I will use the everyone tag. I will use it. Be warned. You are gonna get pinged.
It is your
Whether you like it or not.
You're right. You know.
Sorry, what?
You said that is your right.
Yeah. Hope you all enjoy.
If you don't mind being pinged every time I make a brew, you can join it. You're gonna be up to date with anything I post. Posting on Instagram now, just dumping all my backlog of stuff on it, creating a gallery, getting close to 300 followers. I think that's cool.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, nice.
Hell yeah.
Well,
Eventually, when I do make a Patreon, I plan to advertise it there as well. So if you wanna be into that, follow me on those places, I guess.
Well, that's about the time.
And please follow these guys too. Please follow them too.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, that's about the time we've got this week. So
let's chill.
See y'all
Sam
next
and
week.
More, please.
Have a good weekend, everybody. And keep on enjoying those games, everyone.
Follow these guys.
Thank you.
All right.
I haven't played it, but I do recommend Helldivers.
Try out Helldivers.
Hell yeah.
We at the TheNerdMilitia endorse Helldivers.
We are not
not,
sponsored.
Right?
Oh man,
but we would
Helldivers sponsor us, please.
Please.
Well, you can be the nude Ray Shadow Legends, man. Now's the time.
Wow.
All right.